Hey guys, brand new podcast, and the Birdie Boy Relapse Tour is on sale right now, September 8th in Morrison, Colorado at Red Rocks. It is a huge goal of mine to perform at Red Rocks. That show is almost sold out, if it isn't sold out already. I am performing in between Jimmy Buffett on the 7th and the 9th. I will be going to both shows, eating mushrooms at one of them. Dave Williamson, Mark Normand are eating mushrooms with me and going also. Dave probably won't because he works at a high school. But that is September 8th. Go to Bert.com. Las Vegas, September 25th. And then on the 8th, we kick off in Montgomery, Alabama, and head out hard to Augusta, Charleston, Charlotte, Atlanta, Cedar Rapids, Green Bay, Peoria, Sioux City, Tampa, Orlando, Tallahassee, Jacksonville, Hollywood, Fort Myers, Washington, Boston, New York, St. Louis, Chicago, Milwaukee, Minneapolis, We've added 4 shows in Minneapolis, Rockford, Illinois, Cleveland, Ohio. I'm at the Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse, November 20th, Austin, Texas on the 2nd of December, Sugarland, Grand Prairie, New Orleans, Abilene, El Paso, Phoenix. Wow, we've added a second show at Phoenix at the Celebrity Theater, December 11th, Redding, California, Sacramento, California, Anaheim, Bethlehem, and that is taking us into New Year's Eve at Philadelphia, the Met. And then we've got Wichita, Springfield, Huntsville, Durham, Greensboro, Knoxville. I mean, this tour goes all the way to the Ryman. We've added a second show, April 22nd. Come find me on tour. Go to Bert.com. We are adding shows, but Red Rocks, I can't wait. That's my big kickoff date. We are just weeks away. Today's podcast is a fucking pretty amazing podcast. Last year, New Year's Eve, I did a live show with Tom Segura. I woke up the next morning, hungover as shit, thinking, this is going to be a good year. Fuck 2020. We are seeing a fresh start. I got a phone call from my manager, Judy, and said, Chase was in an accident. Chase worked for Judy, worked for me. This Bertcast sign that's up behind us, we talk about that. He had just dropped it off at my house 3 days before and told me he had a big trip planned. He was going into like St. Louis and then on to Philly where he had a huge party. And she said, Chase has been in an accident. He was drunk in a hotel room and he fell and he broke his neck and he's paralyzed from the neck down. And it was a shitty way to start the fucking year. I've known Chase for a long time. He's a young kid in my book, you know, but he's hungry and he had his life ahead of him. And it just flipped me the fuck out. And especially after watching Tom fall, rupture his patella, break his arm, and seeing just how fragile life is and how at the drop of a hat, things can change, things can happen, and all of a sudden your life can be redefined. That was stamped into cement with me when I heard what happened to Chase. And we followed his journey. You've heard me and Leanne talk about Chase. You've seen us watch his first steps. You've seen us post videos. I posted on my Instagram. We also watched him climb up the rocky steps. These are all stories we will talk about. His recovery, he is doing so well. He walked into this podcast studio. He sat down with me. He had a beer. We opened a second one. He didn't drink it. Just so we're clear, he didn't drink it. I opened a second one. He was like, I'll have one too, but he didn't touch it. I drank mine. I wasn't going anywhere. But, and then he tells me the story of him getting paralyzed, and it is not the one I expected to hear. It is not the one we were told when we found out he got paralyzed. It's a very different story. I was caught off guard. Leanne came in. She sat down. I don't think she said anything. I mean, this is a pretty good it's a pretty good podcast. I hate to say that because it's a pretty good podcast because of the roughest fucking year of his life that he's had, and he talks us through it. He talks about the ups and downs of being paralyzed from the neck down. He says some of the most vulnerable things I've ever heard an individual say, some of the most honest things I've ever heard an individual say about how to deal with hardships. And I'm just saying, and you know, I talk about my stupid fucking injury that's been a pain in my ass, and I talk about my recovery, and I talk about the panic attacks I had, and he had witnessed me share some of them on Instagram, and he commented on them, and I don't want to ruin this story. I don't want to ruin this podcast for you. I want you to hear it for yourself. I want you to hear everything. I want you to hear the shock in my voice when he tells me how he got paralyzed and where he was and what happened directly thereafter. Mm-hmm. And and his feelings for the next 2 days, because the call we got was he's in good spirits. I mean, it's such an insane fucking story. If you're a producer out there and you're thinking about doing something with Chase, hit me up. I'll connect you with him. Or just reach out to Judy Marmel. She'll take care of everything. He still works for us. Not really. He will, though. As he talks about it in the podcast. He's doing like 4 hours of rehab a day, and he can't really get into a rehab facility yet. And that's when the real change happens. And then, but you need those. He talks about all this, but you need those 4 hours, and until you get to 1 hour. Once you get to 1 hour, he'll come back to work. But until that time, he's just rehabbing. He sent a video to me the other day of him playing tennis. Did you see that?
No.
Yeah, it's
awesome.
really an inspirational story. And if you're going through any health issues and you think they're insurmountable, and I know that sometimes they're not that big, and you're like, what will my life be like? Look, it's a pretty inspirational podcast. It's a pretty honest podcast, and it is a pretty funny podcast at times. Yeah, there's definitely a story of that is one of my favorites. And by the way, you're gonna like it. You're gonna love it. Keep chasing your prayers. Keep praying that he keeps up this work ethic, that he stays on a positive thing. And if you're going through anything like that, you can DM Chase or my buddy Scott Flossenbaum. I keep fucking up Scott's name. Scott is unbreakable_journey. He had a very similar story. We should have him on the podcast to talk about it. Maybe we'll have him and Chase together. Scott was paralyzed from a botched epidural from the chest down. But DM Chase and he can talk to you. If you know someone going through this, which sadly the odds are there's someone listening right now that's going through this themselves, or has a family member going through something similar to this, or just anything, blew out his patella and broke his arm and needs a little fucking uplifting voice. Chase, I had Tom speak directly to Chase to tell him, to give him like a little boost of energy, and he did. And I kind of forgot about it, and we talked about that. But this is a really inspirational podcast. He's a really inspirational dude. I absolutely love this guy with all my heart, and I wish him continued success in his recovery. You're going to enjoy this podcast a great deal, okay? Follow him on Instagram at Chase Unfiltered, and he's at TikTok at Chase Gets Better. Ladies and gentlemen, my friend, Chase Friedman. Oh, I didn't take my blood pressure medicine. You can go do that? No, I need the Leanne just to bring it out.
Tell Joe to just reload in your sandwich.
All right. You recording?
Yeah.
Good.
Leanne Kreischer's personal assistant speaking.
Hey, will you have Mom bring out my blood pressure medicine when she comes out?
Mom, Dad wants you to bring his blood pressure medicine out. Yeah, there?
Yeah, we're out here with Chase. Tell her to come out and say hi. Tell her to come out and say hi.
I did.
And tell her to bring my blood pressure medicine.
She said, let natural selection run its course.
All right. I love you.
Love you. Bye.
Bye. All right. I have such empathy for you that I didn't have, that I never had. Mm-hmm. And it is because I had a nerve block on my left arm, and my left arm was paralyzed.
Really? For how long?
Longer than 5 minutes, which is about as much as I could stand. It was, so they said, we got out of surgery and they said, your arm's numb. It's going to be that way for like 6 hours, but it could be up to 48 hours. And so I was like, okay, so 6 hours goes by and it's still dead. And I'm like, okay, cool. And I can't drink. I can't relax myself with anything. Can't take a Xanax. I'm taking bullshit pain pills. And I go, cool, I'm just going to let this wear off. And then that night I'm sitting there and I go, it's been 13 hours and now we're getting to 20 hours.
And nothing.
Nothing. And I am a mess. And here's where my empathy rant came into you. I was trying to move my thumb and I couldn't. And that that panic that went through my heart of knowing how to move my thumb. I was moving this thumb like crazy and getting going and going, why aren't you doing anything? I gave up. And I thought about you immediately. And I thought, how many times you must have been sitting there going, I just want to move anything. And it's different. It's different than lifting a weight and not being able to do it, or playing the guitar and not being able to do it, because it's something you never think about. You don't have to think about. And thinking about moving a body part gave me such panic that, Chase, I will say this 100% honestly. I thought to myself, if I ever get put in that situation, kill me. I don't know if I could bounce back. And so I have so much respect for your journey, because I don't know if you were so upbeat. You were so fucking on it that I went, I have a different respect. I ended up talking to Scott, I forget, I can't pronounce his last name, Flansbaum about it. And he said, yeah. And then he was like, dude, Chase has killed it. So I say that to you, but maybe tell everyone your story. Okay.
So let's just start from the beginning.
By the way, I'll tell you where my beginning starts. I see you and you deliver this light to me.
Yeah. That was fun. It's just a really cool light, right?
Yeah, it looks great, right?
Yeah.
You deliver this light to me. Come on in, Leanne.
I look terrible because I'm working in the yard.
Hey, Leanne, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
You.
I look terrible.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do.
Nice. Thanks for coming.
Yeah. So we were just sitting, and normally I'd have you jump in and hang out and be a part of it. I know you're busy, but he was just starting to tell the very beginning of his story, and I said, it starts with this light.
Ah.
Yep. Well, for those of you who don't know, I work for Bert. Judy, his manager's assistant, and, did all that stuff, including getting the sign made and bringing it over to you. What was the present for? Like holiday?
It was for
birthday?
Christmas. It was for Christmas.
Yeah, great sign.
It's a great sign. It was a gift from my management. You came over and you said, I said, so what's your plans? And you said, I'm going to go see.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to go see Alex. And then I'm going to Philly.
And I'm going to Philly because I'd been quarantining all year. I'd been playing everything by the rules. And I was just like, a good friend from college invited me out to Philly for New Year's for a big party. And I was like, you know what? I deserve this. I deserve to go have a good time. And so I go to the party. Everything's
first of all,
fine.
how was Alex? Did you have fun with Alex?
Had a great time with Alex.
I remember I gave you a sponsor that we have. I gave you a can of chewing tobacco.
Oh yeah, you did.
And I was like, I pray to God he wasn't chewing tobacco when all this happened.
I was not chewing tobacco when all that happened. Don't worry. It had nothing to do with you.
Good. I'm a narcissist.
It's okay. So I go to this party in Philly. It's great. I'm talking to this girl. Let's just call her Sarah. That's not her name.
Okay.
She invites me back to her place. I go. She brings two friends. Because she brought two friends, we're just, having a good time. I eventually spend the night on the couch. I wake up around 7 a.m. to go pee. I'm still very hungover. I'm still probably drunk. I've had no sleep, and I go to the bathroom and I trip. And next thing you know, I wake up and all three of them are around me freaking out. And
wow, this is so not what I thought happened.
Yeah. So they're all freaking out, and I was concussed. I was out for a minute. And they're like, "What? We need to call an ambulance. We need whatever." And I don't know where I am. I don't know who they are. I don't know what's going on. And just a warning, this is gonna get really dark, but it gets better.
Let it get dark.
It gets better. So the one, Sarah, whose house it was, she was an attorney, and you're about to find out a really bad one. So she is telling her two friends, we can't call an ambulance because we were partying. If they come and see what we had been doing, she would lose her license as an attorney. Whoa. So I'm there figuring out what's going on with me, realizing
you're laying
I'm paralyzed, laying on the ground, face down.
Point that out. You're laying on the ground and you're paralyzed.
Paralyzed, broken nose, confused, super concussed, super messed up. And one of them starts shaking my leg and they're like, just get up. And then I felt just a little bit of sensation in my leg. And I was like, are you touching me? She was like, yeah, I'm shaking your leg. You don't feel that? And that's when I realized like what was going on. So the two girls are like, we need to call an ambulance. And Sarah is like, we're not calling an ambulance. Everything I've worked for, everything I've trained for to be an attorney, all the late nights, I'm going to lose it all.
Oh my God. And by the way,
insane.
I thought you didn't use her name because you fucked her. And now it turns out she fucked you. Like
she fucked me.
Oh my God.
Really
oh my
bad.
God.
So,
oh my God.
So she like leave the room.
By the way, she needs to be disbarred. This is who this fucking person is.
She totally does.
She needs to be. I mean, like, listen, we've all had panic moments where we've done the wrong thing. Everyone has.
Do you want to know how long I was on the floor before they called an ambulance? 45 minutes of her yelling at me. You're about to ruin my life. You need to get up. You fell face down. You can't be paralyzed. And me just confused, just like I'm like, I'm trying and trying to get up. And my shoulders were working. So I was able to like move my arm. And Bert, it was so traumatic. It was a really, really bad beginning to this whole journey.
This is
45 minutes.
So as we go on and tell the story, I want to, and this is Leanne's holding her face. And by the way, you're more than welcome to be on this podcast if you want to.
I mean, I didn't realize this was.
Yeah. But so we get a call New Year's Eve. Now,
Not New Year's Eve.
yeah, New Year's Day.
Yeah.
So there's something very interesting to this story. Now, I understand I'm a very flawed person, and I might be like a soft narcissist. But New Year's Day, I thought I did a show with Tom New Year's Eve, Two Bears Live, and I was one of the drunkest I've been in a very long time. And that night, I went into the sink. I think I went into the tub, and I put water on my head upside down in the tub, and I almost fell. And I remember waking up the next morning going, God, man, I was pretty fucked up. I got to remind myself not to try to wash my hair. Like, what the fuck was I think I had spilled beer on me or something. And so I washed my hair upside down and I almost fell. And I woke up and I was like, God, that was fucked up. And my phone rang and it was Judy. And she said, Chase, there's been an accident. Chase got drunk and he fell and he's paralyzed. And immediately I went, how close and everyone is to life-changing accidents every fucking second. I just the night before got the drunkest I'd ever been for fun with my buddy. And I got very high, I think. And here, let me crack this beer, by the way. Cheers to the fact that we can toast and have a fucking beer.
Cheers.
I'm alive.
You are more than just alive.
But I thought to myself, how fucking life is always just a feather away from a severe accident. But so that we can bookmark it, we thought you were in a hotel when this happened. So keep going.
Okay, so the ambulance eventually comes. They take me in, and I'm like, mentally not very good, not in a good place. They start doing tests, and I was actually listening to you talk about how bad your MRI was, and the MRI was probably the worst part of the whole thing for me because it was 2 hours long. So I broke my nose on the fall as well, so I can't breathe. I get to the hospital, they tell me I have COVID. So the cherry on top, I have COVID. So I get to this MRI, right? Completely paralyzed. I can't feel anything, can't move anything. They put the mask on me. I'm like, can you at least take the mask off while I'm in there? Because I can't breathe through my nose. It's broken. They're like, no, mask has to stay on. I get in there. I'm freaking out about COVID. So the mask is going in my mouth, out my mouth. And they keep saying, stop moving. I'm like, what are you talking about? Stop moving. I can't move. My legs were having spasms. So they kept like randomly shaking and kicking. And for 2 hours, and I was so hungover. And oh my God, that was so bad, the MRI. And I just remember thinking like, I'd rather be dead. I would 100% rather be dead than have to go through with this MRI.
It's amazing that is a go-to thought. So when I watched Go Baby, Down Baby, what's the Clint Eastwood movie about the boxer that Hilary Swank played?
$1 Million Baby.
$1 Million Baby. And she kept saying, just kill me. And I remember going, no, no, you always got to keep hope. It's so easy for someone to say to someone, you got to fight, you got to do the rehab, you got to do this and that. But when it's you, and I know my flaws, and I'm understanding I'm pointing one of them out very clearly. But when I had just a nerve block in my arm, my go-to thought was I could not fight through this if this is the rest of my life. And what's crazy is there's a guy I owe a huge apology to. His name's Gabe. He was on Go Big Show. He was the one-armed archer, and I not like an apology where there was any a disagreement or ever hard feelings, but we busted balls a lot about him. He had an arm he lost in a motorcycle accident, and it was still there, but it had no feeling in it, and he ended up getting it cut off. And I just busted his balls about him. Why would he get his arm cut off? Wouldn't you rather just have an arm? And he's like, you have no idea what a dead limb feels like. It fucking sucks. And I was like, dude, I still think I'd still rather have an arm than no arm. And I'd do stuff like high five, like bust balls. And when I had my dead arm, and Leanne can hear a test, it was lasting longer than it should have. Now, granted, they did say 48 hours. It can go 48 hours, but it was lasting longer than the 6-hour window they had given me. And I understand that I'm telling you fucking champagne problems right now. Champagne problems. I'm trying to put it in perspective of going, I understand the concept of I can't do this. And I definitely said, if this is my arm, it's getting cut off. I would cut it off. I would rather not have an arm than something hanging on me, but that I have no feeling in. And it was because it was like you'd get up. I woke up in the middle of the night and it had fallen behind the chair. And I was like, oh, fuck. And I had to get it from behind the chair. So when you say, kill me right now, I'm in a fucking MRI.
Yeah. And they're like, no, just keep still. We're almost done. And it's like another hour. I'm like, fuck. And also understand at this point, like, they haven't told me about rehab. They haven't told me what's wrong with me. In my head, I'm just going to be ahead for the rest of my life. That's what I was thinking for the first day and a half. So the MRI was bad. I get out. I'm on a bunch of oxy. I'm mentally really bad. Day 2, they take me in for surgery on my neck. And I remember going in and looking at the anesthesiologist and just thinking to myself, like, I hope you have no idea what you're doing. I hope you mess up and I never wake up. Luckily, I did wake up. And the second I woke up, I noticed my biceps worked a little bit. I could pull in my arm just ever so slightly. And I was like, wait a minute. They did something right in there. And then they took me back to my room. I recovered for a couple hours and the doctors came in and they told me the kind of injury I had. I injured my spinal cord from C4 to C7. There was no break, but there was a lot of trauma. And they basically said, based on your age, based on the injury, we have no idea what's going to happen to you. And I was just like, really? After fucking like 15 years of medical school, you're going to tell me you don't know? And based on the injury, they're like, maybe you can take a step again. Maybe nothing will ever recover. We don't know. But there's a rehab process and you have a chance. And my head went straight to, oh, I'm going to be totally fine. I went hard denial on my situation. I felt how my biceps like had a little bit of motor function. I was like, hardcore denial. Oh, I'm going to be fine. I'm just going to work hard. I'm going to stay positive and I'm going to be totally fine. And I lived in my own head, in this own like reality of mine for like the first month of everything's going to be fine. And then I was just cracking jokes all day. And I was super, super positive for the majority of the rest of the trip. You want to hear about my first mental breakdown? It's kind of funny.
Yeah. I want to keep going back. Okay, keep going. Yeah. So because I want to hear about your first mental breakdown, but I also want to know if they did like a reenactment of what happened.
Okay.
But remind me, mental breakdown. Don't let me forget.
I won't forget. So what happened like on the fall?
I want to know what happened, like what must have happened.
Yeah. So I tripped. I fell. I went face first into the countertop, and I had some weird condition called congenital stenosis, which is a condition you wouldn't know you have unless something like this happens. And the vertebrae in my neck, the bones, were just too close together. So when my head snapped back, they smashed into each other, caused a bunch of trauma and internal bleeding inside of my spinal cord.
Oh, wow.
So it's like an injury that wouldn't have happened to someone else if they fell the same way I did.
Everyone else would have just woken up with a sore neck and a broken nose. And you had a condition. Oh, wow. So now, and so would that have, and I hate to ask this, but would would there have been better help for you had you not laid there for 45 minutes?
I asked the doctor. He said it wouldn't have made a difference, which is why I didn't sue this person.
I'd still sue her for being a cunt.
If it affected me, like if I got hit a centimeter higher, or even less than a centimeter higher, and it would have hit like C3 or C2, it would have affected my lungs or my brain, I'd be dead. 100%.
Wow.
Being on the ground for that long.
Halston, are you on the computer right now? So can you pull up spinal, like, so can you define spinal injuries of?
It's like each vertebrae affects different parts of your body.
Oh my
and
God.
so like the higher you go up, like the more it affects. And I was at C4, which is pretty high. And I'm pretty sure it's like C2 that has to do with your lungs and stuff. And if it hit there, I'd 100% be dead.
Okay. So yeah, so one of my good buddies in college, Dave Noyes. Shout out to Dave Noyes. Rest in peace, Dave. I'm sure this is, by the way, I don't have all the, okay, so those are the C's.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the C's are all in your neck.
Yeah.
Oh, because they're cervical.
Cervical.
Mm-hmm.
And so thoracic is the T's.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then L.
So C3, you broke C3.
Right. And the higher you break or like, have your injury, it affects everything from there and below. So basically my entire spinal cord was messed up except for the spots at the very top.
So 1, 2, and 3 were okay.
So 1, 2, and 3 were okay.
And
And then the
below
rest
were-
of my body just stopped working.
So 1, 2, and 3 are more relative to your autonomic system, would you say?
Yes. Like
I don't know
my
what that word
autonomic
is.
system was also messed up. I didn't sweat until like a month ago. I was not sweating.
Wow.
My skin was super dry. Like my entire time in the hospital, my hands were white, like with dryness. And like I still don't feel temperature under my chest at all.
Wow.
Still today.
That's
showers
all
are
part of your
weird.
autonomic.
Showers are weird. You don't feel temperature.
I started taking cold showers.
Oh yeah.
It's supposed to be
good.
better
It's
for you.
better for you.
I barely feel it. I feel it in my arms
Yeah.
and like my head and above, but under my nipples, nothing.
Interesting.
Nothing.
So that's fascinating. So then, and Scott Flannenbaum, I'm sure you guys, I'm
Yeah.
fucking his last name up. Unbreakable Journey is his name on Instagram. He's a fan, and we had met through the fact that he had a botched epidural.
Yeah. It's crazy. He was at like C2, he said. So his like entire body, like he was, yeah, that guy's a warrior.
And he's like hardcore. I just talked to him on Instagram Live the other day. He's a fucking hardcore warrior. Do you have any questions? Do you have stuff you have to do? Do you need to leave?
I just handled some stuff because I was meeting the painter. But so I just answered his question.
But
Sorry.
please feel free to chime in. Now, first mental breakdown.
So this whole time I haven't cried. Not once. Even
That's
when I was on the floor.
crazy. By
I
the
know.
way.
And then like a weekend, Fast and Furious 7 comes on.
Oh my God.
I'm watching the movie. I'm laughing. I'm watching Jason Statham throw the rock like through like a wall and 3 floors. And I'm like cracking up at how he's like totally fine. And I trip in the bathroom. And then at the end of the movie, they do the memorial for Paul Walker.
Yeah.
And I start crying so hard I can't breathe. And for the next week, every time I think about it, I start bawling again. And it was this weird outlet that like made me cry when I like, how weird is that?
What was it about Paul Walker?
Because Paul Walker died.
He died.
No, I know. Well, I'm aware of that guy.
But it was just
no, but,
so
like,
sad that he died. And for some reason, watching a Fast and Furious movie was the trigger that got me to just let everything out.
oh, where you could cry about yourself. You weren't crying about Paul Walker.
I was crying about both.
Yeah.
It was
I was like, so what was it with Paul Walker?
no, it was like
specifically?
it was like a sad thing that just made me cry about like partially Paul Walker, but like everything that was going on with me. So weird.
God. So when you get the news, you go into denial and you're like, I'm going to be fine. I'm going to rehab out of this. When you get that news, are people looking at you like, yeah, sure thing, man? Or are you just like, or is there like a team around you going, you are going to get through this? Because I don't think, I remember we'd call, usually we'd call probably every other day or every day and get updates on you. And I remember the first time you moved a toe or something, you moved a foot. And they were like, he's getting feeling back in his feet. And I was like, fuck. I mean, I think we were crying. We cried at the time. And then next thing you know, it's like you're flicking people off. You're like, and things are going so quickly that I was like, motherfucker. Now, and you have COVID, so you've got to be quarantined. No one can really get close to you.
Yeah. So the first month, so this happens, and then the first month I'm by myself completely. Like I can't, like I have the doctors coming in, but I couldn't see family. I couldn't see friends. I'm also on the opposite side of the country.
You're in Philadelphia.
I'm in Philadelphia.
Shout out to Philadelphia. That's a great fucking city.
Bad things happen in Philly.
Bad things.
Sometimes that's true.
That was the running joke. My friend got me a shirt with Gritty on it. Bad things happen in Philly. Yeah. So wait, sorry, what am I saying?
No, keep going. So that first month you're by yourself.
So I'm by myself. They're not telling me. So the first week was when I came up with the idea, before I leave Philly, I'm going to climb up the Rocky Steps. And that to the doctors seemed like a complete impossibility. Whenever I brought it up, they're like, look, you need to take it day by day. You need to like just focus on, movement first. Like don't look so far ahead. And I was like, I don't give a fuck. I'm going to do this. I was watching the Rocky movies. They were firing me up. So I was in the ICU for a week, the COVID part of the hospital for a week. And then I moved to the rehab hospital and I was living in a hospital meant for rehab. First day, I'm like telling my therapist, I'm going to climb the steps right when I leave here. They're like,
how much movement do you have at this time?
I can't stand. I can kick my leg out. My quads were like the muscle that came back first. So I could kind of extend my leg. I had a little bit of ankle movement on my left side, nothing on my right. I didn't have the strength to stand up yet.
Now, is there any sense, rhyme or reasoning to what's working and what's not working?
No. So the way it works for everybody is like different things come back at different times. Whenever I asked a doctor, even today, like, is this going to come back? The answer is always they don't know. Because with these injuries, you have no idea what's going to come back, what's going to come first, what's going to come second. You just work at everything and hope for the best.
Jesus Christ. And are they working more specifically on the parts that are working, or are they just going both legs? We're doing both legs. One leg's not so great. The other leg.
It's both. And it's also your goals. You tell them your goals and they work towards them. So like we did way more stairs than the normal person does because I said my goal. And in the beginning, it was like an arm around each person. And they're like, someone's moving my legs up the stairs because I can't do any of it. But I made them do that every day with me because I was like, I'm going to climb these stairs.
And how many hours a day are you doing in rehab? Because it's very interesting. And my experience is watching Tom. Tom dedicated a great deal of time to rehab. And I assumed very quickly that, oh yeah, if anything were to happen to me, I would be the same guy. And I'm not. I'm definitely not. Like I was moving my hand around so much that it hurt yesterday. And my arm started hurting. And I mean, you could see it in my face. I was in so much pain. And I drank myself to sleep and passed out on my fucking recliner. I don't remember how I got to bed last night, but I knew I didn't want to take a pain. I didn't want to take a pain pill, and I was done. I was angry, and I guzzled a bunch of whiskey and passed out.
Super healthy.
By the way,
may need a different kind of rehab.
Oh yeah,
when this is over.
Gabby Reese called me today. She's like, "Don't drink."
Yeah.
And I went, "Huh?" She goes, "I'm just telling you, don't drink," and gave me a bunch of stuff that I'm dying to know what because the guy you need in your life right now is Rogan. Is like a little insight from Rogan, because Rogan and Gabby and those people, they're on the outside. They're on like the fringes of what's happening. Like Gabby said to me, you need to get in a hyperbaric chamber. It needs to take you about 3 atmospheres down, and you need to watch a movie and just chill in that. And I was like, well, where the fuck do I find a hyperbaric chamber? She was like, call Joe. She was like, I guarantee you Joe knows 2 hyperbaric chambers. And so I was like, yeah. Why, as opposed to my doctor who puts this on and goes, and the one guy that put it on was kind of like, he was like, yeah, it's a cheap ass fucking brace. It looks like I got it at CBS. And he's just like, I guess like just move it around a little bit. And my doctor was like very specific, but I didn't listen. That's the other thing I wanted to ask you. First of all, I'm so sorry. Answer the question. How much physical therapy are you doing a day?
I was doing 3 to 4 hours a day. It was like an hour and a half of PT, which is mostly legs, hour and a half of OT, which is mostly hands, And then they do other like rec therapy, like trying to learn to type again, or like learning like, just like using different tools to like do daily life things.
And then your free time you're spent watching movies
and just fucking around.
Listening to podcasts? Like
I listened to podcasts. You know what I did? One of the most entertaining parts was I downloaded Tinder and Bumble, and I uploaded photos of me in the hospital, paralyzed, and my bio was it was like half photos of me like totally messed up, like cut up. Like the bio is recently paralyzed. My neck brace holds up to 150 pounds. Come and take a seat.
Oh my God. That's hysterical. That's fucking awesome.
That's fucking
And
great.
I got so many matches, and I would just fuck with them. It would be like, they'd say like, what up? I'd be like, not me. My legs don't work. They'd be like, you have nice eyes. I'd be like, thanks. One of the only working parts of my body. And it was just like, again and again, I had so much fun doing that.
Yeah.
And that and movies.
So how soon until you can, first of all, what podcast did you listen to? Because shout out to those podcasts. Because I know for a fact, I started when this whole thing started happening, I know where I went, and it was Rogan with anyone about psychedelics or anything about psychedelics, because I realized my limitations emotionally and spiritually, and they were very shallow. I have a very shallow depth of where I'm comfortable thinking about life and the afterlife and all of that. And so I watched Magic Mushroom. What was it? Fantastic Fungi's. And I watched that. I started watching anything about mushrooms, anything about psychedelics, about healing. I went to anything in that scope. Ben Greenfield, Rogan, and then David Goggins is a big guy where you go, I start going to his page and scrolling on his things and looking for stories of like, but what were your go-to podcasts? Where were your go-to inspirations?
Honestly,
or was it just get your mind off it?
I don't have a good answer to that. I'd listen to like clients like you and Whitney and Taylor. And
so you're saying Whitney got you through this?
No.
That's amazing.
I'd say,
you're like, no, I'd listen to it and go, at least I'm not that bad.
No, I mean, it was just entertaining stuff. I wasn't listening to much for inspiration. The inspiration really just came from me and the fear of being disabled.
You listen to Whitney and Taylor, you're like, okay, Taylor's emotionally paralyzed.
Yeah, no,
God.
that was not my inspiration.
Oh,
yeah.
That's interesting. And so what were the movies? What were your go-to movies? What's the movie that if it starts playing, you go, oh, I remember moving my toe to that movie? Or like, what's like the movie where you if you turn it on, obviously Fast and Furious, probably you'll never be able to see it the same way again.
Never. I don't know. I don't really have a good answer to this. I mean, I watched the Blade trilogy. My friends bought me a DVD player, like from like 20 years ago, one of those, and they bought me a bunch of DVDs. Judy sent me all of her screeners, and I would just watch DVDs all day, and it was just to pass the time. No real emotion associated with it.
Can we just talk about Fast and Furious for a second?
Yeah.
Have you seen the most recent one?
Oh yeah.
Can I tell you?
That's the one he cried to, right?
No.
The one that's in theaters now, 9. Have you seen it?
I saw it in Serbia by myself with my cousin Andrew and my executive Kale. We sat in a movie theater. I'd never seen any of them. First of all, you kind of, you can just jump into it. You get the idea. There's cars, there's racing, there's good guys, there's bad guys. It's like a Bond thing, but it does help to have a little backstory. Because I was like, wait, are they brother, sister? Are they dating? Is that their child?
None of it makes sense. Okay, here's the thing about the new movie.
That's what they said. They go, you do not need to, don't worry. And then when they go to fucking space, I was like, oh yeah, none of this connects.
None of it connects. Because in all the past movies, there's normally 1 or 2 parts that you watch and you're like, oh, that's ridiculous. In the new one, every single part is you watch it and you're like, that's ridiculous. They took it to a whole nother level. And I don't know.
Leanne,
it's insane.
Ludacris and Tyrese go to space in scuba diving outfits and in a Fiera. I'm not even joking.
In a
Also, like,
Fiero?
In a
That's
Fiera.
the most ridiculous
Is
part.
it Fiero? Is it a Fiero? It's a Fiero.
It was a DeLorean?
No.
No.
No, you're thinking about it. It's a Fiero.
Oh.
Pull up Tyrese and Ludacris space. They in scuba suits By the way, there was a bit they never paid off. They're like, just so you know, if you get nervous, these inflate to 2 times their size. And I was like, I'm waiting for the fucking video of them inflated.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that they don't follow up on in that movie.
Click it. Fast and the Furious space.
In the beginning of the Fast and Furious movies, Ludacris's character is just a mechanic, and then one movie they decide since he's a mechanic, he's going to be like the tech expert, and he's cracking like the world's most difficult safe in the. It's the most insane series of all time.
It is, and by the way, and I it's interesting. I don't know what changed in me. You just these are all advertisements. What changed in me is that I won't ever shit on another movie again because I used to do that. Mm-hmm. And then now I look at it and I go, how lucky are these guys to make something that they enjoy making with their friends? They're like a family, right? They are a family by now. And to have a fan base that's there for them into the parts where even when they go to space in scuba diving outfits, everyone's still loving it. And I went, that is a blessing. That is a fucking, I said, throw me in the briar patch. Get me to do the Machine 7, where all of a sudden I am now king of the Russian mafia. I'm running the Russian mafia. And look, it's a Fiero. They're in a fucking Fiero, by the way. But
oh my God.
Yeah, it's a Fiero. It's a Fiero.
Okay. And with that, I'm going to go take care of my painter.
Okay. Do you have any questions you want to ask?
No, yeah, I am so happy that you are where you are.
We're not done with your story. We're not done with your story.
No.
You leave, Leanne.
And pretty impressive. The heart and soul it takes to get here.
Thank you.
Is amazing. I'm so glad to see you.
Good to see you too.
I don't know why I didn't realize you were coming today, or I would have gussied myself up and like
you look great
and cleared your schedule. I thought I told you. Maybe I wasn't good.
You told me maybe like last week and I just forgot.
Yeah.
You did tell me at some point, and life interrupted. Have fun.
We will. So yeah, Fast and the Furious, man. I'm telling you, I might start it from beginning to 1 and watch it all the way through. I want to see.
Good luck. Don't do it sober.
Fucking that. By the way, that would be a fun. Like we did the Pitch Perfect trilogy.
Yeah.
It was called the Treble feature, where we watched all 3 Pitch Perfects in a movie theater with my daughters, and it was a fucking blast. We brought all their friends. We had a fucking blast. This podcast is brought to you by Bird Dogs. These are the only shorts you will need this summer. It is peak summer right now, which means Bird Dogs are back. They're the most comfortable, best pair of shorts that have ever existed. For me, you throw them on, you work out in them. They have a super soft built-in underwear, so it supports your junk. Get on the treadmill, bang out a workout. Go play golf in them. Take them to the beach. You can put them on for brunch. They look nice. I have a pair of Seersuckers ones that honestly, you put on a collar shirt with them, they look like good looking shorts. And then take off, get home from brunch, go over to someone's house after brunch, jump in their pool, and they dry super quick. What Bird Dog did was they stole the Lululemon designer, and they're just doing it better. All Bird Dog's summer styles are on their website, and I'm telling you, I love my Bird Dogs. They are comfy as shit. It is your throw on the short, they get soaking wet, work out in them, dry off, and at the end of the night, you got a collar shirt opened up, your Bird Dogs on, a cigar, fucking cocktail in your hand. Oh. Go to birddogs.com and enter the promo code BERT, and they're going to throw in a free Bird Dogs whistle tip football. That's exactly like those Nerf footballs you had when you were a kid, the must-have beach toy of the summer. That's birddogs.com. Use the promo code BERT, and boom, free Bird Dogs whistle tip football with your pair of Bird Dogs. You will not take these things off, I promise you. So wait, when was the first time you got drunk after the accident?
That was after I did the Rocky Steps.
Oh, you had beers on a rooftop.
Oh yeah. Wait.
So wait, okay. Do you need to go back forward?
I need to go back a little bit.
Okay.
I need to tell you one story that happened right before the Rocky Steps, and then I'll tell you that.
Okay.
So I haven't really told this story before, and
what's up, George? Oh, she made us sandwiches. Come on in. Yeah, we are in the middle of a podcast.
Hey, how's it going?
Sandwiches? Oh, they're fucking.
Thank you,
baby. All right, I'm gonna hold on to mine. Thank you, George.
Okay, so
they're I know exactly what they're gonna be fucking awesome. That kid makes great sandwiches.
So, I told you about how I was messing with people on dating apps.
Yeah.
Well, there was one person that kept responding, and we started talking a lot, and eventually, she wanted to come over to the hospital. Now I'm like, this can't work. I have a catheter up my penis. Like,
Oh, so you can't piss?
I can't.
Wait, how are you
piss.
shitting?
They'd give me like enemas, and
then they just flush you out.
And they would just flush me out. So that's the thing. It's not just my movement and feeling like I couldn't pee on my own, I couldn't poop on my own. But eventually, it comes to a point where my catheter's coming out. I'm still talking to this girl. The catheter comes out. They're super nervous. Oh, that leads me to another thing. Okay. So the catheter comes out. I made them take it out because I didn't want it in there. It was giving me so much anxiety, but they thought that I was like not going to be able to handle it. They thought it was too early to take it out, but they take it out. I had the very first case of, I think I've pissed myself syndrome. Now, I don't have sensation down there much. I tell you, every single time I felt like I had to pee, I felt warm liquid around my thighs. I still don't feel temperature down there. I'd look nothing. I swear to you, it was so real that I felt that I was peeing myself, but it didn't actually happen.
Really?
And they'd said they'd never seen that before in anyone. I call it, I've pissed myself syndrome. It's my own thing. Whatever. Moving past that. So they take the catheter out. Every 10 minutes I have to pee. Luckily, I'm able to pee. The next day, every 20 minutes. The next day, every hour I can hold it in. The second I could hold in my piss for 2 hours, this girl comes to the hospital.
Oh my God.
This is first week of February. I can't stand. I can barely feel. I'm in my bed. She comes to the hospital. The nurse writes on a piece of paper. I tell the nurse, this is my girlfriend. Writes on a piece of paper, do not disturb until like 4 p.m. She comes at noon. I don't know what's going to happen. I give myself a lot of time. They lock the door and I got fucking laid. Can you believe that shit?
By the way, this woman deserves a grant. She deserves a grant, like $100,000 a year for the rest of her life, so she can perform the way she performs, like a fucking hero, like an American hero, like the people that caught Bin Laden didn't talk about it for a fucking few years. This woman is a champion.
It was such an insane experience. I can't move, and she came to my hospital room, and she came back a second time a couple days later.
I love this woman.
Legend.
I love this woman. A legend, yes. By the way, if this woman would ever like free tickets, backstage access to any of my shows in Philly, I will be there New Year's Eve. Young lady, you have everything you need from me.
There you go. I'll hook it up.
By the way, and I would extend this to Tom Segura's shows. I will extend this to Joe Rogan's shows. I will extend this to every one of my male comedian friends and female Whitney shows, Taylor Tomlinson shows. Fucking love this chick.
But just like think about it. I also haven't done anything in over a month. It was I couldn't move. I'm just laying in the bed. I was just laying in the bed. It was like the most insane experience
This
of all
is like
time.
World According to Garp. Do you ever see that?
No, what's that?
The World According to Garp. Pull up the World According to Garp. Robin Williams does a movie, and Robin Williams's father is a Tourette gunner. Go click on. Just go to the Wikipedia page. By the way, I'm flexing my hand more and more as you talk to me. I'm the Wikipedia down.
At least it's moving.
What?
At least it's moving.
Yeah. Well, for me, it's just painful. Okay. He is born out of wedlock of a feminist mother, Jenny Fields, who wanted a child but not a husband. During World War II, she encounters a dying Tourette gunner known ball Tourette gunner. Turret, you know what that is? It's the thing underneath the plane where they go da 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 da. And so he was, I guess he in the movie, I forget, but he's out of it, but he has a hard dick, and so she ends up Am I reading?
Read
this right?
the rest of the sentence. It gets pretty crazy. So I'll start over. Garp is out of wedlock son of a feminist mother, Jenny Fields, who wanted a child but not a husband. A nurse during World War II, she encounters a dying ball turret gunner known only as Technical Sergeant Garp, who was severely brain damaged in combat, whose morbid priapism allows her to rape him and to be impregnated. She names the result child after Garp.
And so it's Garp, the world according to Garp. So actually I think he ends up getting shot in the end.
I don't know, but that's me minus the getting pregnant.
So
hopefully.
So can I the first question I'm gonna avoid is any description of this one. I don't want to know anything about her because I think it's better for us all to use our imaginations.
She was an artist. She made me a nice painting.
Okay.
That
Give me the
said
good points.
bad things happen in Philadelphia.
Okay,
she made that for me.
So give me walk me through it. Like what this I mean, like I very seldomly want to hear juicy stories about people getting laid.
I
but
don't
this is such a
into it, but basically she came over.
And you guys have already connected. You've been talking online.
We've been talking.
And so at what point do you realize this is happening? Is that a pretext?
I kind of knew it was happening from the beginning. The texts were getting kind of heated, you know?
Okay. And so you let the nurses know.
The nurses think it's my girlfriend. They put the do not disturb sign on the door. She comes in.
You see her for the first time in person.
For the first time.
And you've got to be like, regardless, it's a human being. It has a heartbeat.
And here's the thing. At this point, my life is so ridiculous, the shit I've been through, that like I was just like, we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
We have small talk for, I kid you not, like 20, 30 seconds. And then she goes, "Can I just kiss you?" And I was like, "Yeah." And then yeah, it was so.
At any point, are you
insane.
like, hang on, watch for my hand, watch for my?
No, she was like, "I don't want to hurt you. I don't want to hurt you." And I was like, "I can't feel shit."
Now, and I apologize. Please tell me if this is too far. Fully naked?
Yeah.
Not you. I know you are.
Yeah.
Her?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, shut the fuck up.
Yeah. It was insane. It was insane. And yeah. And everything
and
worked the way it needed to work.
Oh, that's so fucking great.
It was so fucking crazy. And then imagine like I'm calling my friends. They're like, "What'd you do today?" I was like, "Well, you'll never guess what happened." Like it was okay. It was just so insane. And that was like the beginning. Everything was already insane. The accident, the way it happened, the way I was recovering, it was already ahead of schedule.
No contact from the three girls. They never reach out to you once again.
No, they reached out to my friend that because I had just met those three girls that night. So I didn't know them. They reached out to my friend to check in how I was doing. The two girls like completely ghosted the third girl. They were best friends and they're like not talking to her anymore because of the way she acted, which makes a lot of sense.
When you see that side of someone, and by the way, I have to be fair, is that everyone has that. Not everyone has that side to them, but you have to acknowledge that in traumatic times, people do fucked up shit.
Yes, but the thing that they said is, if you started by reacting in that way, fine. But after like 10 minutes, you got to get it together. It was 45 minutes. Even when they came, she like didn't like when they called it the ambulance. She still like was against them calling the ambulance. It was the entire time that she didn't want them to come because she was afraid for her, even though I like could have died easily. It was.
It's funny. Things like that define who you are for the rest of your life. There's a movie. I think it's a French movie, but Will Ferrell did a version of it. And what's interesting to me is the accessibility to this side of everyone's personality. If you want another beer, Halston, you can grab them.
I'm okay for now.
But what I find fascinating is in the movie there's an avalanche and did I say Will Smith or Will Ferrell? Will Ferrell, I think Julie Louis-Dreyfus plays his wife, and Will Ferrell sees the avalanche and they're like, "Oh, it's coming close. That's not going to hit us. That's not going to hit us." And then they're like, "Oh my God, it's going to hit us." And Will Ferrell runs in and shuts the door behind him, locking his family out. And it's those moments. And
yeah,
you know, I can't, it's called Downhill. And then that moment defines who they are. And it's interesting. I'm trying to think of one in my life where, like, I remember in fraternities, the big thing was people passing out and how would you behave with that person passed out? And I think some people behave where they color on them and write dicks all over their faces and swastikas. It was a big thing, you know, because you want to write the most aggressive thing on them so that when they wake up, they, you know, and then all of a sudden they swallow their tongue in the middle of the night. And what kind of person is like, no, this is my responsibility. And what kind of person walks away from it and goes, I wasn't there. And I don't want to be associated with this. I know that I drew on his face, and I pride myself on hopefully thinking in moments like that, I would say, no, this will work itself out. Let's call the ambulance right now. But you never know. And I think that most people can sit here and assess and go, no, I know what kind of person I am. And I go, it's push comes to shove. And then you find out what kind of person you are. And then sadly, for this woman, for the rest of her life, she knows who she is. Mm-hmm. And her friends know who she is.
Yeah. It was so traumatic that the first like 36 hours, it was so bad. But, you know, they said to get better, you have to work hard and stay positive. So I was so positive the rest of the way. And that leads us to like the Rocky steps. I kept working. I was improving.
Well, yeah, you're getting a little pussy.
That was the beginning of the first, like, oh my God, it was just so insane. And then a week or two later was the Rocky steps. I remember I was nervous because as strength was coming back, the issue with my legs was I didn't have proprioception, which means even though I could, if you touched it, I could feel it. I could, move them in different directions, not well, but I could move it, but I didn't know where my legs were. So
that's what proprioception is?
Yeah. So say I'm walking, I had to be looking down to see where my legs are landing. If I closed my eyes and you move my leg up, down, left, right, I'd have no idea.
Okay.
So because of that, balance was so difficult. So when this time came for the steps, I knew I had the strength to get up there. What I was nervous about was falling over. And I had my therapist there holding on, or like making sure if I fell over, I'd be fine. Luckily, I didn't fall over. But the thing that nobody knows about that I was worried about, do you remember when I called you right before?
Yeah.
You're like, are you nervous? Are you going to be fine? I was like, look, I haven't shat in like 3 days. And the doctors just upped my laxatives. I'm nervous. I'm going to shit my pants.
Do you realize how viral you have gone?
I know, but it was already kind of viral. But look. And then I was so nervous. Do you remember what you said to me?
What? You
said, Chase, if you shit your pants, then look at the camera and go Bert.com. I'll give you $10,000. And I was like, okay, if I have the most embarrassing moment of all time, at least I'll be rich. And do you know how many people joined the live stream who would have seen it? 30,000 people were on that live stream.
That was a great...
Hundreds of people showed up in person. That was like one of the greatest moments.
The universe aligned for me that day because I wanted to do a podcast with you, and I wanted to watch it, and I wanted to watch it with Leanne. And that day we were supposed to do a podcast with Nathan Florence. Nathan Florence, I fucking love this guy. I love this guy. If you get a chance, you need to go down to Hawaii and hang out with this guy, do some fucking workouts with him. He is a savage. He is such a cool dude, very positive, best energy. I love him. And our podcast is supposed to be at 11, and your live stream was happening at 11, or, 2, whatever time. And it was the exact same time. And for whatever reason, Nathan Florence slept in for 15 minutes, just long enough for you to climb the Rocky Steps. And you got done climbing the Rocky Steps. We turned it off, and Nathan and I started the podcast. It was like universal lines sometimes. And I got to watch it, cried aggressively. Leanne and I were bawling. Sylvester Stallone retweeted you.
Yeah, he was tweeting me. He posted my video on Instagram. Because what had happened is, just tell people that don't know, when I was in the hospital, I made a video of me flipping everyone off.
And by the way, I think you were wearing my tour shirt.
Oh, yeah.
And so everyone hit me up and they're like, hey, man, there's a fan of yours that's going through some stuff. Maybe you should help him out. And my first response, I didn't even realize I was doing this, was like, nah, I know that guy. But I was like, I'm already doing everything.
Yeah.
Trust me, I'm more on his side than you know.
Yeah.
And people are like, you seem pretty callous about this. Why aren't you retweeting it? And I was like, it's Chase, man. We've been doing this for a month now.
Yeah. Yeah. So that became like, and then I put it on TikTok. It got big, started making more. And then I made a video about climbing the Rocky Steps, and that one went pretty viral. And someone posted it on Reddit, and it was the top post on the homepage of Reddit.
Oh.
Arnold Schwarzenegger's commenting like, I'm sending this to Sly. Then Sylvester posted on his Instagram, posted on everywhere, and hundreds of people ended up showing up in person. I was like, join the live stream, and hundreds of people in person.
Showed up in person.
Yeah, hundreds, and they're crying. It was like it was such an insane experience.
It's super. Well, you know, the stories about paralysis are often a lot like shark attacks, where no one talks about all the people that get attacked and nothing happens to them. People simply talk about the people that are attacked and died. And so sharks get demonized, and paralysis has this like demonic effect where everyone goes, he'll never walk again, I'll never do this. And so anytime you see something like you, I think first of all, people are like, wait, what? How the fuck did that happen? And does that happen? How often does that happen? But more importantly, I feel like I'm witnessing a miracle. And I think that's what's the cool thing about your story is I think the majority of people are like, I'm witnessing something that I don't think I could do if I was. The vast majority of people could not do what you did. The vast majority of people, I think, and I'm sure you assume, no, I'm pretty ordinary. This is what I did, and I think everyone can do it. But I look at it and I go, I don't know if I could. It
was insane. I mean, I still talk to doctors. I was lucky that actually a good friend of mine, by coincidence, is a spinal cord doctor. And I was talking to him a lot throughout the process. And like, I spoke to him last week. And he was like, yeah, most people with your injury can never pee on their own again. They have to use a catheter for the rest of their life. And
so then why you?
I'm fucking lucky, dude. Mickey Mantle gene.
Do you think it was your blind faith and like, oh, I'm going to be fine?
I think it was a mix of a bunch of things. It was that I'm young.
Yeah.
It was that I'm lucky that, you know, my neck didn't actually break. It was just a bunch of trauma. It was the support I had. It was the mental strength I had, because there's times when I'd feel down on myself and I'd get to rehab and I wouldn't push myself as hard. And you know what? I didn't improve. I didn't improve unless I pushed myself beyond my limits every time. So growing up, right, I played tennis. I played tennis in college as well. And I had this trainer that was this tall black dude named Mark. Shout out Mark. He's a beast. And he would yell at me, like, move your pale ass, pretend you're an athlete. Every single day in rehab, I heard him yelling at me. I heard the Rocky theme in the background as I'm like trying to walk. Like, yeah. And he also told me that when I was playing tennis, he's like, the most important part of a workout is when you feel like you're done, to not stop, to keep going and push yourself and prove to yourself mentally that you can do more. And physically, that's when your body's like getting the most out of it, right when you feel like you're done. And that's what I did every single day. And unless I did that, I wouldn't improve. And I'm still doing that every day. Like, I might be able to work right now, but I'm doing rehab like a minimum of 4 hours a day. And every day it's so fucking exhausting. But as soon as I feel like I should be done, that's when I'm like, nope, got to do a little bit more.
This is where the gain comes in.
And that's when, and unless I push myself harder than I feel like is possible, I don't improve.
And so what are your goals? Like, so where were you getting out of the hospital? Where are you today? And what are your goals today?
Okay. So I was in Philly until April. I was walking with a cane then. I eventually got out of a wheelchair. I was an electric wheelchair to manual wheelchair to cane, or to walker to cane. Now I'm walking without a cane. I'm walking with a little bit of a limp. My current goals are to walk with no limp, which I think I can definitely do. Like, that's like a long-term goal that's by the end of the year. And then another goal is to be able to jog.
Yeah.
And I can't jog currently because on my right side, so the right side of my body is a little bit worse than the left side. And
left side looks legit. Your left hand doesn't look like anything's wrong.
Yeah, it's weird. So there's this thing called tone, and tone is when a muscle will contract or like activate when it's not supposed to. So one of the reasons I can't jog is when I extend my right leg and if I push off, I get tone in my quad, which keeps my leg straight and it won't bend. So I can't like pull it through. Like my quad just activates for no reason.
Yeah.
And my left hand looks good, but I have tone in my fingers where, so look, I have a fist.
Yeah.
I can go fist to straight.
Yeah.
I go fist again. And then it's a little more difficult because the muscles that close my fist, I'm getting tone there, and it's more difficult for me to tell them to stop. And I do it again, and now it's like even more difficult because I can't tell the muscles to turn off.
But you have feeling in that hand.
I have feeling. It's not 100% feeling, but this is just like the use of my muscles.
Yeah.
They activate when they shouldn't activate. So in my right leg, I can't jog because I have tone in my quad. It's activating when I need it to relax. And my calf is the opposite problem. My calf's weak and I don't have enough strength to really push myself up off the ground with my calf. So I need to tell my quad to shut the fuck up, to relax. And I need to tell my calf to like get fucking moving.
Yeah.
So doing rehab is this weird mix of push myself as hard as I can and relax as hard as I can at the same time, depending on the muscle group. It's this weird, it's so weird, man.
It's really crazy. So is there like a full body assessment that you have where you like a checklist of going like, by the way, like I'm flexing my hands right now inadvertently. I'm not even doing it on purpose. Just going like trying to see if I notice it. Like notice. I'm not even thinking about it, but I see you think about like opening your hand.
Yeah. I mean, I do. Like when I walk, I'm focusing, like walking and talking, I have a lot of hard time doing because I am so focused on my right leg.
Then you wouldn't like Migos. Walk it. By the way, I'm into the Migos. I have to make an apology to them. I know I can't beat up all three of them.
Like I'm so focused on, landing on my heel, releasing on my toe, bending my knee. It's like walking, I'm very, very focused on trying to make it look as good as possible. And then hands, like shaking someone's hand is so weird for me. I'm not used to it because my right hand, right? Sometimes I'll go to shake someone's hand and my fingers won't extend all the way. But sometimes when I'm feeling loose, I go and it's like good enough. So every time I shake someone's hand, I'm like rolling the dice.
We don't know what you're going to get.
Like I don't know what I'm going to get. And the thing is, everything's still improving and
everything's improving still.
It's still improving. It's not improving at the same rate as it was in the beginning. It's slower.
So when it started, you would feel like if you had to put a number of improvements after a workout, the next day it would go up 10%, 5%, 20%.
I mean, percentage is difficult, but it would be very noticeable.
Really?
Like not every day, but like I would work hard for like 2 days. And then the third day, it's just a very noticeable improvement. Now, I can't look at it day to day. I look at it week to week. And week to week, it's noticeable. And I had to find the differences, I have to like pay attention. While in the beginning, it would just jump out at me like, oh my God, that's improved. Now I have to like look at each part of my muscle, each muscle and like, oh yeah, compared to last week, it's definitely still improving. And it's just like, it's such a mind fuck because also I want to be happy with myself, but I don't want to be happy with myself because if I'm happy with myself, I'm not going to work as hard.
It's a contentness. I think once again, not to narcissize this too much, but I know that feeling is I am never content with myself, and I'm pretty brutal to who I am and how I behave. Like yesterday, I sat on the toilet to take a shit. I'm knowing I'm getting my cast off. And I just feel like I haven't done anything with my life at all. And
what?
Exactly.
Come on.
I know, but perspective.
What have Judy and I been doing?
I know.
Come on.
By the way, can I tell you? But I think that's where my brain goes. One time I was on a flight with this guy, Scott Sands. Shout out to Scott Sands. And we're sitting next to each other in first class. I upgraded him. We're both sitting in first class. We're flying from like Vancouver to LA. And we run into the biggest, second most turbulence I've ever encountered in my life. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's pretty aggressive. And I start having a panic attack and drinking aggressively. And he's like, hey, calm down. And I go, I can't calm down. And he goes, what are you worried about? I said that I'll die. He goes, then you die. And I said, dude, I haven't done anything with my fucking life. I go, I feel like I've done nothing with my life. And he starts laughing. And he gets 2 drinks from the flight attendant. And we get our drinks. I go, what are you laughing at? And he wouldn't tell me. We pour our drinks and he toasts me and he goes, you know what's fucking hilarious? As I said, what? And he goes, how self-centered you are. And I said, why? And he goes, you're telling me you haven't done anything with your life. And he goes, for the past 9 months, I've been filming you live your life. And he goes, so if you haven't done anything, I've watched you do nothing. And so I've done really fucking nothing. And I went, oh, fuck yeah, I guess I've done a lot of shit. And so, but I think sometimes I think it's good to not feel content. I don't know why. I wish I wasn't so punitive with myself, but I feel like I'm not, like, you know what, sometimes you do a podcast, like this is not it, but sometimes I'll do a podcast and I go, so did I deliver? Did I bring any? Is there a reason that I'm doing a podcast? Like I did one with someone, I forget, the other day, and I just was like, am I phoning it in? Like, am I really doing what I should be doing? Is this worth me having a studio and then you start beating yourself up, and then you take a breath and you go, okay, I just wrapped a movie, I just got surgery. I'm trying to sell.
Yeah, you just had a fucking movie made about your story, and
I know, I'm certain, and I would imagine. I hope this doesn't come out shitty, but I would imagine mediocre people feel content very easily and feel like I'm killing it. And I would hope that great people always see the glass as like half empty, of like, I need to do stuff. I got to do stuff. I know Tupac was like that. That shows you my intelligence level. But totally. Tupac always felt like, guys, we need to be in the studio. We need to be making shit. And I think he had this prophecy that he was going to die young. But I feel like everyone should live every day to its fullest, and you should try to do the most you can out of a day. And I look at a day like today where I go up at 5, doing radio from 5 to 8, do a podcast from 9 to 10:30, do a podcast with you from 11 to 12:30, do another podcast at 3. I have a general meeting with a writer at 9, and then or at 7, and then I go, okay, I'm doing stuff. I think a content person, and I have been this person in my past, goes, I wrote a new joke today, I'm good, you know. But I think with working out, that is that way. There's certain people who work out who. And I know that you're looking at my body and watching this and going, Bert, you don't work out. Okay.
You work out.
I work out hard as fuck, and I'm still
really hard.
I also live a fucking fairly aggressive. Oh, I gotta take my blood pressure medicine. But I live a fairly aggressive life. And I would explain to my daughters and my wife that a workout ends when you throw up. When you throw up, then you've worked out hard enough. I don't know if that. All I know is that's a good gauge for me. Is if I'm throwing up or I'm gagging, then I've done it hard enough.
Okay.
And so it was at CrossFit. I mean, I would go out and throw up every day. And because you put me into a competitive situation, and I'm watching dudes cheat, and I'm like, fuck you, I will beat you, and I will push myself, and I will be fat as fuck, and you can laugh at me, but I'll be throwing up 2 cups of coffee in the parking lot by Eric Gruzin's car every fucking day. And that's how I like to work out. And it bums me that I'm going through this, because right now and it's so crazy. They go, hey, you know, so we're going to go up a degree every week. So right now I'm at 35 degrees, and they're like, you can move it at 35 degrees. And at first I was like, come on, I'm not a pussy. I was at 45 degrees in the cast. But I did this a little bit yesterday, and it was throbbing. And so then next week I go to 50, then 70, and then I'm at 90. Technically I'm at 90%. It's weird, but I understand why they do that. Today I dropped something, and I went to grab it real quick, and I went, oh, and I was like, thank God it stopped me at 35. But I said, should I be lifting weights? And they're like, no. But my brain goes, if I'm not pushing myself.
You are pushing yourself. 35 degrees. That's all you got to do. Just listen to the doctors, man.
Oh.
Like, look at the expression on your face right now. Like, that doesn't look easy.
I'm in so much fucking pain doing it.
Yeah, stop, man.
I know, but I go, the pain's good. It's a weird part of my brain.
Okay.
Where I go, the pain's good. Freshman year, we do.
Well, there's good pains and there's bad pains. Is it a good pain?
I don't know. All pain's good.
I don't think that's right.
I think all pain's good. I think all pain, if you can find, pain can become euphoric.
Yeah, good pain. Bad pain sucks, man. Like, if there's pain that's like, you're pushing yourself in a good way, but there's pain like, you know, you broke your leg. That's not a good fucking pain.
I think I might be mentally ill. Can I tell you? So the night, so the drip, the spine. I might need another beer. Hey, Halston, will you grab me a Bud Light, please?
I'll take one too.
I haven't had a Bud Light in fucking forever.
Yeah.
And they are so good.
It's water.
It's a fucking refreshing.
Yeah.
So about 4 a.m, after the night after my surgery, and I got my surgery at like 2. 4 a.m, I reach over and I feel the top of my hand. It's the greatest feeling I've ever had. And
Thanks.
the second greatest feeling I ever had, and I have a video of it, is me with my hand here in the cast, and I'm twitching my fingers. And I went, oh God, they're coming back. And I thought of you because I thought, when you move your toe, it's the first sign that your body is taking a direction in the right direction.
Mm-hmm.
And I went, that is fucking awesome. And so I was like, man, I have so much I want to talk to Chase about, and I'm so glad I got this. And there's so many apologies I want to make to so many people, because a lot of times you empathize with people, but you don't really know what their struggle is. You know, it says it about I talk about it with racism a lot, is that black women predominantly black women aren't heard in hospitals. It's
Really?
Well, most women aren't heard in hospitals. Black women generally aren't listened to by doctors. It's something I've heard on podcasts and social media, and I've heard activists talk about, and it's problematic. And I didn't think that was real. I thought, what doctor doesn't listen to everyone? And then you realize, no. There's a shorthand, and when you're talking to a person that looks exactly like you, which for me as a white male is the majority of doctors that I run into are all white men. My cardiologist, my general practitioner is a female, but because Leanne got her into me. But my cardiologist, my anesthesiologist, the guy who did surgery on my arm, these are all white dudes that I'm dealing with. And so there's a shorthand we have. Chris Rock talked about going to SNL and not thinking they were racist, but understanding that Adam Sandler talking to Lauren Michael was different than him talking to Lauren Michael. Because Adam Sandler's just talking to his dad, another white dude.
Yeah.
Chris Rock's talking to, he didn't say this, but is talking to a judge or a lawyer. Like there's not a connect. He didn't grow up around a lot of dudes like Lauren Michaels, but Adam Sandler had a Lauren Michaels in his house. So there's a familiarity. Black women, and once again, I may not know what the fuck I'm talking about, but this is what I've learned is when they say I have a problem with this and that, maybe the doctor brushes them off and goes, it's nothing. And then they feel like they don't have a voice. Well, when I went to Serbia and I had to go to the hospital in Serbia for burning my leg, I understood just how difficult it is when you don't have that shorthand. Where language is a difficulty, where there's a cultural difficulty. And maybe there's a difficulty because this is a woman versus a man, or a man versus a woman. And I have never felt more helpless in a hospital than I did in Serbia. And one of our co-stars ended up having appendicitis. And we ended up empathizing. Yeah, shout out to Mercedes. Maybe I shouldn't say that. It's fine. I think everyone knows it. Anyway, keep it in. Mercedes Cruz, I think is her last name. You type in, I think Mercedes Cruz, I think is her name. I want to make sure I get it right. She's a fantastic
Don't forget her
lady.
social.
Go to Instagram, type in Bert Kreischer up there too, and it'll see Mercedes de la Cruz. She had appendicitis, and we empathized with how scary it is to go into a hospital when you don't speak the language, and they're saying we're going to put you under, and we're in this, and then and she's just like, whoa, hold on, and it is crazy. But I think that goes hand in hand with what I say about, like, people may hear your story and go, hey man, I got you. You got to fight, man. You got to struggle, push hard, conquer your inner bitch, whatever they've accrued from podcast sayings, but they don't know how hard it is. And I think I truly empathize when I started moving my fingers, the excitement I had, the relief I had, where I was like, we're moving in the right direction. Yeah. Now I understand what a pussy I am, because it was just a fucking nerve block.
But it's also different. Like, because I didn't really have a choice. Like I was working hard, but also like I'm 25. I don't want to be disabled the rest of my life. I had such a good life working with you, working with other stand-up comedians. I had great friends, great family, my life was so good. I wanted everything to go back to the way it was. So I had so much motivation to get better. And like on day like 3, I had this 1.5-hour video of people just wishing me luck and saying I can do it, including the one from you and Tom.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
And like I would watch that on repeat, and like that would motivate me. Like I had so much going for me. Like, I don't know. I feel so lucky. Like I could feel unlucky for having this happen, but I feel so lucky for, the recovery I've made that I keep getting told is a 1 in a million. You know what's something weird? I've never looked up anything about my injury. I've listened to the doctors, And I told my friend this the other day. He's like, I haven't Googled my injury once. Is that weird?
Meaning the type of injury you had?
Yeah. Or like, because the way it was in my head was like, I don't want to like look at any article that's going to tell me I'm never going to walk again.
That's smart.
But like, I don't know.
By the way, I was like, it's so funny. My brain goes the exact opposite way. I go, this only happens to guys that deny their homosexuality. And you're like, wait, I'm gay too? Oh shit. I got to tell that chick to leave my room. No, it's funny because I haven't Googled anything about my arm at all. And I had a lot of opposing opinions on what I should do.
Mm-hmm.
Like I had my trainer and a physiotherapist say, you don't need surgery. I would not get surgery. And then I had just about every surgeon tell me you need to get this repaired. And I just leaned to the getting repaired. And then I talked to Gabby today and she was like, you got it repaired? And she's like, ugh, surgery sucks. It's so bad for you. You know, like going under is like dying and it's not I'm so glad I didn't talk to her before the surgery because I would have been like, I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
But I haven't Googled anything about it and I don't really, but I also don't want to know limitations because I don't believe limitations apply to me. Like I believe in luck. I believe that I'm the luckiest guy in the world. And I believe it's funny. Like weird things I think will happen to me. Like I definitely think I'll win the lottery once. Like, but I'm also certain I'm probably going to get struck by lightning. Like I'm certain I will get attacked by a shark. It's not going to be a bad bite, but I probably will get attacked by. Okay. I feel like I'm in that.
He'll just get a finger.
I'm in that little area of the fucking angel's breath in life where really good stuff happens to you, but then also bizarre shit happens to you.
Well, I felt the same way. So this was such a 1 in a million accident. Like the way I got hurt. When I got on the plane to come home from Philadelphia, I cried when we were taking off because I thought the plane was going to crash. Wasn't bad turbulence, wasn't anything, but I was just like, just my luck. My friend, I went on a road trip with my friend Eric. Shout out Eric, you fuck. He has a Tesla and he put it on automatic or self-drive and like just like sat sideways. And I was like, dude, you have to watch the road. Yeah. And he's like, dude, like it's safer for the car to drive than me statistically. I was like, I don't give a fuck. You watch the road or you pull over and I'm getting out. And I just like, I believe in 1 in a million. They've happened to me and I feel like it might happen to me again. So like, I'm a lot more afraid of things than I used to be. I've never been afraid of a flight in my life. Like I wouldn't have had a problem with him driving, but like I've experienced a 1 in a million accident and like I don't want to do that again, man. That's so funny. I thought my whole life I'd die in a plane crash, and that's why I respect air travel and get blackout drunk before I fly, because I respect that death is right around the corner. I respect death. That's why I want to take mushrooms again. We already talked about mushrooms a little bit. I don't think I can do that right now. I went to school in Southeast Washington. Yeah. I've experienced that stuff. And like, there was a kid in my fraternity that, I'm not sure if I should say this, but he microdosed on shrooms and it like triggered schizophrenia. And so
by the way, that is triggering me in a heartbeat. Because it's
like a gene apparently, but it doesn't always come out.
But it shows up at a certain age. Schizophrenia comes out. It comes out at a certain time in most people.
Not every. Some people can have the gene and it cannot come out. It sometimes.
I've been told that happens with marijuana. By the way, I wonder if this is like voodoo shit we're talking about. If like any like doctor would be like, it's marijuana doesn't cause schizophrenia. But like I remember thinking when I smoked pot and had panic attacks, I had triggered schizophrenia because I could not shut up voices in my head. I didn't know where they were coming from. It was loud. They were yelling at me.
When were you hearing these voices?
This was when I was 15, 16.
Damn.
16. Twice I smoked marijuana and I had panic attacks. But wait, a panic attack for me is a lot like schizophrenia. It's where I can't control anything. And it feels like everyone's shouting at me and everything feels very loud. I had one once again in college. Was the last time I had like what I would call a schizophrenic panic attack, where I had it in the shower and I didn't know what was going on with me. And it just overwhelmed me. But I'd had it twice as a kid smoking pot. And it's part of the reason I kind of don't smoke pot all the time, because I would smoke pot all day, every day if I could. I especially an inebriant, no one knows you're doing. Like you just are relaxed. I mean, fucking Xanax. But I definitely thought I triggered schizophrenia. One of the times I definitely thought I triggered schizophrenia. And I was like, oh, great. So I broke my brain forever. And the last time I did mushrooms, I was just telling this to someone. I was telling it to Brendan Schaub. The last time I did mushrooms, I thought to myself, my daughters are very young. What if I just broke my brain again? And what if I can't provide for them? And I bet if you're in a situation where your brain is the one thing that's operating at 100% and the rest of your body isn't, you probably think to yourself, well, I'm not going to fuck with the one thing I got. You know, the one thing that's working for me is my brain and my mentality and the way I'm seeing things and the way I'm perceiving life and the way I'm perceiving this. God forbid you take mushrooms and your brain decides to fucking sabotage you and go, oh man, we're in a bad, you're good call. Good call, by the way.
So I like, maybe
you might have just talked me out of doing mushrooms.
No, because you've probably done it before, right?
I've done it a few times.
Yeah,
I've done
so
it maybe like
if
10
you've done
times.
it before, and I've done it before, but I'm not mentally ready yet to do that
Good
again.
call.
I mean,
So
I have
then-
a friend that listens to Joe Rogan all the time, and he's like, "Dude, you got to try mushrooms. You got it might like trigger the nerve." I was like, "Dude, like, not yet. Maybe never, but like right
Do you
now,
realize
definitely
what a
not."
story that would be if you took mushrooms and all of a sudden you started dancing and everyone's
I can
like,
dance.
motherfucker.
Do the worm.
Where are you at today?
Okay, so today I'm walking. I'm fully independent. I can drive. I drove here. I can do everything on my own. It's just like improving. It's like it's less like learning to do the big things and more just focusing on specific muscles. Like there's this weird thing where if I stand on my left leg and then I stand on my right leg, I lose like half an inch of height because my glute on my right leg is super weak and it doesn't, like my hip kind of sticks out. So I'm like focusing that muscle so it can strengthen, and it's just like a bunch of fine tuning right now. And I'm so lucky that I've gotten to this point, but I am not going to fucking stop until I can walk. I want to walk into a room and have no one know something's happened to me. You know?
Well, you were close to that the other night at the variety party.
Yeah.
I saw you walk in and I was like, God damn it, he's moving great. I put up my stories.
Yeah, I saw it. I'm moving well, but like I'm competitive, man. I want to be the best. I want to fully recover. They say 100% is impossible. I'm going to get as close as I can.
So what is possible? What percentage do they think
They
you
didn't
can
like
get
say
to?
a percentage, but they just said.
So where do you think you are right now on a percentage scale of 100 to?
It's so difficult to say because like there's so many different aspects to it.
Yeah.
Like when I pee, like in the morning, my body's tired. I'll like stand over the toilet for like a minute before it comes out.
Yeah.
Like the muscles to like my sphincter muscle is like waking up, and who knows if that will ever recover. There's a lot of little things like that. And like, I don't care if that, like I can still pee. So whatever. And like the main thing I'm just concerned about is my right leg and my right hand and the other little stuff, like the temperature thing. Like it sucks. Like on the 4th of July, I was at a pool party and I wanted to dip my feet in the pool and it wasn't refreshing. I just put my feet in the pool and it was just like, whatever. But like, I don't know. The only things I'm concerned about are my leg and my hand, and everything else. If it doesn't recover, like it's not a big deal to me.
This podcast is brought to you by Grunt Style. Grunt Style is a American veteran owned and operated company that prides itself in patriotic spirit with the motto pride in self, military, and country. There's an interesting website. I went and checked it out to see what I thought of it, because sometimes they'll send you stuff and I was like, I'm going to buy some stuff of my own. Their outerwear is fucking badass. It's kind of outerwear that you know is durable, you know is high quality, because it's made by guys that rely on gear. I also ended up buying some of their panties. It's not panties, they're like shorts, but they're badass shorts. Like old school 1970s shorts that are raised high, 80s shorts, and cut up the side, and they look like you served in the military, so no one's gonna fucking look at your legs and be like, hey man, what's up? They're gonna be like, oh, cool man, nice. Listen, you don't have to serve in the military or be a veteran to wear Grunt Style, but you do have to love freedom, bacon, and whiskey. They provide more than apparel. They instill pride, and they've got great cups. Their shirts are awesome. All their gear is badass, and I love the fact that they started out of the back of the founder's car, and they've grown to employing almost 400 Americans, producing apparel for workout, everyday wear, hunting, fishing, and more. Grunt-style club members get free shipping, special discounts and contests, and exclusive tea each month. The Grunt-style Foundation partners with organizations that provide mental health and support to PTSD, depression, anxiety, combat stress, and transition to civilian lives. The Grunt-style Foundation is active in programs and help with food insecurities and homelessness for veterans and their families. Regardless, they do have badass fucking clothes and great gear. And it's gear you can count on, all right? And all of your purchasers are going to a great cause. All of that wrapped in, dude, get an additional 10% off your first order at gruntstyle.com/Bert. That's gruntstyle.com/Bert for an additional 10% off your first order of any items. gruntstyle.com/Bert. That's interesting how you can put things in perspective and you go, because I have a weird perfectionist thing in my head where when I knew I was going to have surgery, and I know this sounds absolutely ridiculous, but I was like, I'm going to have a scar. Like my body's been perfect. So girl goes, you think your body's perfect? And I went, yeah. Like it's got no flaws on it. And then I'm going to willfully put one on. And he goes, well, what's the option? And I said that my left tricep retracts into my arm. And he goes, well, what would you rather have? Like a baby arm or a fucking scar? I go, I guess I'll go with the scar.
Yeah. And
then he was like, yeah. And it's interesting is that you do kind of weigh out certain options and go, and I've watched Tom do it he had just had nerve surgery in his left arm. And I've watched him fight back, and it's been, and for him, he was like, he couldn't, I don't know if he said it or not, but he was talking about his hand. And his hand wasn't operating the way he wanted it to at 100%. And he was willing to go in and get the surgery. And I was like, that's really inspirational for dudes. Like, could there be another surgery that they do for you, or are you good with surgeries?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm done. I just had the one surgery. Have you seen the scar?
No.
Dude, I have this sick scar on the back of my neck.
For real? You're going to get a tattoo to cover it up that says
I'm not
unbreakable?
No. I saw a funny, I was just like Googling tattoos.
On scars?
No, there's one because it's like a line with a little like slits, and someone got a tattoo of just like a zipper head.
I've seen that one. I've looked at a bunch of tattoos to get on my scar but then I go, I think the scar is the story. Like,
no, I'm not going to cover it up. I like it. I think it, it's crazy. Have you seen the X-ray of like my neck?
No,
I can show you later.
Yeah,
or I don't know.
Wait, do you have it? Just text it to Halston. He can pull it up here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the one thing, texting with one hand has been a fucking, I know that's saying that to you. You're like, yeah, I'm still working about pissing in the morning. I'm like, texting with one hand is very difficult.
But you want to know the crazy thing about like even when I was on Tinder, like I was swiping with voice command. There's a way to set up voice command where you control your entire phone with your voice. And I just sit in my bed, like unable to move. I'd be like, swipe right, swipe left.
I want to set up my phone with voice command.
I can show you how it works. It's actually like really impressive, the stuff, the way it works and the stuff you can do with it. I also wanted to mention, because you're talking about like hand stuff, is the biggest concern was my hands in the beginning, because for the first 2.5 weeks, I had no movement in my fingers at all. And so there was the Paul Walker mental breakdown. And then the second mental breakdown I had was 2.5 weeks in, I thought I was never going to use my hands again. And I couldn't feed myself. I was like, I'm never going to feed myself. My job is sending emails and calls all day. I'm never going to be able to do that again. And then I sat down with a therapist and I was just bawling. I was just so sad. Because like being in a wheelchair is one thing, but unable to use you do everything with your hands. I'm 25. I use my, and she's like, she stabilized my wrist and she's like, okay, let's try to move your thumb. Nothing. Try to move this finger, nothing. Eventually, they did it on my right hand first. Go to my left hand. When we got to my index finger, I moved it like that. A millimeter of movement. And I was just like, I can do it. I can do it. It moved. I can fucking do it. And the fact that my left hand has just about fully recovered, minus the tone, is a miracle, because like 2.5 weeks is a really, really long time to go with zero movement.
And so do nerves start dying at that point?
Dude, I don't freaking know.
You don't know. Just you're like, I don't
know.
give a fuck. It started
It's
working.
just normally a sign that like the longer something takes to start moving initially, the worse it's probably going to be. That's like my left leg was the first thing to start moving. I had the biceps working, and the hands were just the scary part because they just weren't nothing. I was getting nothing out of them, and then just a millimeter of movement, and I was from then on. It was the positive attitude, and I was like, "Oh, it moved. It's gonna move." And every time like something moved a little bit, that was in my head. I was like, "Oh, if it can move a little bit, it can move more." Like that's just the beginning, and just fucking kept at it, man. But the hands were the scariest part.
That is, that is scary. That is. Did you feel like if you touched part of your bodies, were they cold or hot?
What do you mean?
Like meaning like, so like your leg isn't moving, but if you touched it, did it feel cold or you hot or cold?
Felt nothing.
You didn't. Oh yeah, because you didn't have feeling in your hands either.
In the beginning, no feeling in my hands. Like nothing felt. Even temperature now. So I'm not like affected as much with
You're like Wim Hof.
Dude, Wim Hof has been an inspiration of mine since like high school. And he's one of the people I'd look at. I'd be like, if Wim Hof can control his autonomic nervous system, I can walk.
Yeah, you should do some of his breathing exercises.
Dude, I have been obsessed with breathing since I saw his Vice thing when I was in high school. I actually was thinking of maybe going to train with him in Iceland, wherever he is.
I'll do it.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Plan it out. Find out when those training things. I'll pay for both of us. Let's go train with Wim Hof.
That would be so.
I'll train for both of us.
Sick.
I'll pay for both of us, and we'll fly out. We'll do the whole fucking.
I want to do it.
The whole training. I've wanted to do it for a while.
Okay,
Wim
where
Hof.
is this fucking.
His son does all his. I think I ended up talking to his son one time. Here's the problem with me is I get drunk and then I fucking Google Wim Hof and see he has like a class or something.
Yeah, he trains people.
Yeah, and
I
you go
just
to his place,
texted you.
everyone gets in the water, everyone does a hike shirtless.
Yeah.
It's like a whole fucking thing.
It'll be a little more difficult because hiking is difficult, but like I can do it, man.
Goals,
I can do it. I can do
goals.
it, especially if it's like a couple of months from now, at least. Like, 100%.
No, it's
so that's a
whoa.
scar. It's not as bad now, but the next one I sent you was the X-ray. No, a scar. Imagine just a little zipper head at the bottom.
Not bad, not bad. That's an aggressive scar.
Yeah.
So they opened you up, and then what did they do with those vertebrae? Did they just?
So they put in metal rods, just stable, like it just, push the vertebrae back in where they're supposed to be and just stabilizes it there.
Oh. What's the next picture, Halston? Oh, yeah, Wim Hof. Find out when that is, Halston. I'm sure that Judy's going to be like, we can't cancel those dates. I'm really happy that you and Chase want to do this. So what's the what's here we go. Not online courses. We want to go to fucking Iceland or wherever the fuck he lives.
Yeah.
Go to wimhof.com. Oh, maybe that's it.
Look at that motherfucker. Love that guy.
Release your potential. We have so much potential to release.
So much.
So what's the next step?
The next step is just continued rehab.
No. I mean, I'm taught, by the way, you should know me well enough to know where my brain is.
Sorry.
So how do we make money off this?
Well, TikTok, I've been making a bit. I'm doing my first like ad. Listen to what I'm doing an ad for. A Paralympics video game. They're like making ad.
Oh my God.
I was like, this is the perfect thing for me. So that's going to be the next thing I'm doing, but
That's great.
hilarious.
Do we have like a book? Do we have a movie? Do we have a pitch? Like what do we got?
There might be a book coming. I've had interest from a couple people about doing a movie about everything because we haven't even mentioned here the kick in the ball story.
Oh yeah. You said, yeah.
I like when I was like the first week, my friend was just like, hey, there's the X-ray.
So this is the X-ray.
Yeah. So that light part, that's titanium in my neck.
Can you feel it? Meaning,
I can, dude. When I like twist, like right here, I can feel it. I can totally feel it. And then like when I tilt, I can still twist my head pretty well, but when I tilt, like that's as far as I can go.
Wait, zoom out for a sec. Look at what a twink your body looks like.
Fuck you.
Look at those ribs and those arms. Like I feel like mine would look bigger. Is that crazy?
Well, you're bigger than me. Come
I know,
on,
but it's
man.
so fucking, it's so cute.
Fuck you.
So
Don't call me cute.
so are we on top of that? I mean, are people listening? If there's someone listening who's like, I want this story to be told. Like, how would you write a book? Would you write a book about your story? You'd need to go so deep into, because where this helps someone, what I find fascinating about this is your dedication to not looking behind you, looking forward in like a really almost like blindly, like just looking forward, going, this is going to be fine.
Yeah. I don't know, man. So I've been talking to a writer that we might start a book, and I was thinking about going through the whole process, my mindset, and then going back, because I took a lot of things that I've been through throughout my life to help me get through the process. Like I told you I played tennis, right?
Yeah.
There's this weird story of my freshman year. We were like 20th in the nation, playing number like 6 to get into the Elite 8 of nationals. The way tennis works, it's like there's a bunch of matches, 1 to 5 total matches out of all 9 wins, right? It's 4-4. I'm the last match on. I'm a freshman. I'm beating this guy. I'm about to put us in the Elite 8 for the first time since the 70s, and I cramp. My leg cramps.
Really?
So sad, I lose the match. Flash forward, senior year. Same situation. We're like 20th in the nation. We're playing number 6. I'm the last match on. I start cramping. But I'd cramped so many times, I knew how to handle it. I take calcium pill. I'm chugging calcium pills. There's pickle juice. I'm chugging this pickle juice. I know not to like overexert, because your leg starts to cramp, and then once it locks out, you can't move it for like 10 minutes and you're done. So you have to like move really slowly. The kid sees I'm cramping, gets a little nervous. I win the match while cramping, put us in the Elite 8 for the first time. And that just proved to me that like, even if things are going down, I physically can fucking do anything. And I feel like that was a big fork in the road in my life, and then everything started going well. But that was in my head. I was like, if I can fucking do that, I can do anything. If Wim Hof can control his breathing and change his body, I can walk again. And there's just like, when I write this book, it's going to be a lot of like taking things like that, applying it to the situation I was in, and being able to get through the worst, arguably the worst possible injury you could ever have.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny. It's funny that people don't see, myself included, setbacks as opportunities, meaning a setback sometimes allows you opportunities that you would never have. I remember, once again, realize that my brain sometimes is focused on my featherbed tragedies.
I'm used to it.
One time, this is Georgia. You probably were still in college. Georgia and Isla had just been born, and I got pulled in to test for a CBS sitcom, and it was like, it was on the list to test. It was me, Chris Kattan, I think. Chris Kattan, maybe. Gary Valentine, and Paul F. Tompkins. Those are the 4 people testing. Very, very different personalities, but I thought I actually got a shot at this because I am a dad at the time. And Chris Kattan and Paul F. Tompkins ended up booking it. They weren't dads, and nor did they resemble dads, in my opinion. Like, meaning I didn't think of any of them as like a dad in middle America. Gary Valentine wasn't a dad. And Gary was such like a fucking good looking, cool, slick dude. I was like, I might be the only one that really, I'm going to get this role. And the guy that was directing it was the guy who directed Van Wilder. Okay. And I was like, oh, I'm going to have a connection. Yeah. I was going to say to him, hey man, in my head, I thought, I know that his girlfriend at the time had done pictures with my roommate who was a photographer. And she had said, oh my God, my boyfriend just read your article. And I said, for what? She's like, he's directing this movie called Van Wilder. And that's the first time I'd ever heard about Van Wilder. This is years before that. So I go in, he's the director of this sitcom. I'm like, okay, I got a shoe in my head. I'm going to hit it out of the park. And the sides were in my voice so I could act. And I was like, perfect. That day, I was looking for something under my bed. And I lifted up my mattress, and whatever I needed to do, I needed both hands. So I put this very heavy California King mattress on my head to hold it with my head, and I pulled my neck. I pulled my neck so it was frozen like this. Like an idiot. I'm like, oh, fuck, man, I'm testing at CBS, and I can't move my head like this. And so I went in and I tested, and I was like, and I'm with the wife, and she's like, I don't know. What do you think? I'm like, I don't know. What do you? And at one point, they're like, is something wrong with your neck? And I go, I pulled my neck this morning. And they're like, oh, okay. And I bombed the audition.
Oh,
I bombed.
no.
It was a test. We were testing.
Yeah,
all the network
yeah,
execs are
yeah.
there. Everyone's there. And if you do well, that's the day you get the phone call. Congratulations.
Mhm.
And I couldn't. I mean, when I went, it was me, Chris Kattan, and Gary Valentine in the lobby, and I couldn't move my neck. And Gary's like, "What's wrong with your neck?" And I go, "I pulled it." And he goes, "It doesn't look good, buddy."
Oh,
And I go, "Really?" And
no.
he goes, "You gotta fucking."
It gets in your
He
head.
goes, "Take a muscle relaxer." And I was like, "I don't have one."
No,
and he was like,
don't do that.
"You gotta go get a drink, loosen up your neck. Go run and get a drink. You gotta loosen up your neck." He's like, "Buddy, you can't act like that." And I'm like, "Gary, it's not that bad." And he's like, "It's really bad, Bert." And he's like, "I notice it." And he goes, "You got no shot at this if you can't move your neck. He was like, "Even if you hurt yourself, just move it a little bit." And it was frozen. It was frozen like this. It happens to me every now and then as I pull my neck and it'll lock on me.
Mhm.
And I didn't get it. And I remember thinking to myself at that time, this had to happen for a reason. I was supposed to get this role. And the universe hurt my neck. The universe, not me being an idiot thinking I'll just hold this up with my head. The universe hurt my neck so that I wouldn't get it. Why did that happen? And now I look back and I think, had I booked this role, I might have gotten into sitcoms. And if I'd gotten into sitcoms, I wouldn't have focused on stand-up the way I did. I would have just been like, I'm an actor now. I'm gonna focus on acting. Because my quote at the time was $75,000 was my quote to do a fucking sitcom, because I'd been grandfathered in back in the day with Will Smith and CBS, and I'd gotten a good quote. And so had I booked this, I would have booked it, and I would have been in that and I would have gotten very comfortable acting, and that's what I would have done. I would have acted. I never would have done Travel Channel. I never would have focused on my stand-up, and I definitely probably would never have done one podcast.
You would have never been on the cover of Variety.
I would never have done the movie The Machine. I would have never told The Machine on stage, and I wouldn't have the life I have today, and I'm very happy. And I know that you can go, well, that's not, you can't connect the two, but I connect the two. Where I go,
can.
I hurt my neck, and I hurt my neck so that got removed. I remember thinking, why would this happen? Like they were all but willing to offer it to me. Like on the call, they want you to test. They love you. They think this is right for you. You just got to go in and do like semi-good. And I had done that before for other sitcoms, just done semi-good. Not even a great audition, but they liked me so much. Les Moonves liked me, and he would just go, I like him, put him in. And I didn't get it. And then I never did another sitcom. I was the last, I'm not even joking. That might've been the last audition I had. And I booked in Travel Channel very shortly after. I did Reality Bites Back. I did an hour special. I started just doing other stuff, and stand-up is my focus. And you got to look at those setbacks as things that are positive. You know?
Completely. Yeah. I'm not sure if I'm all in on the everything happens for a reason, but I'm all in on.
It's hard when you go, so what's my fucking reason for this?
Well, I'm all in on sometimes shit happens, but you have to make the most of it. That's why, even though I had the worst fucking injury ever, I had a good time. I was trying to have a good time while I was getting through it. I always think about how short life is. Like,
It's fucking so short.
It's so short, and also it just gets faster and faster. So
if you're just tuning into the podcast, I'm putting pills in my mouth going, life is short.
Okay, so there's this theory that someone explained to me one time about how time is relative. Even though time is fixed, when you're like 6 years old, a year is 1/6 of your life. So it's a big portion of your life. When you're compared to when you're 60, it's 1/60th. So even though time is a certain amount of it's fixed, you experience it faster and faster and faster as life goes on because it's a smaller portion of your life. And based on that, you experience like half of your life by the time you're like 20, which is like, also I heard this years ago and I just think about it a lot, but it makes me think, like, if life is just getting shorter and shorter and shorter, I feel blessed to be alive after this injury, and I want to somehow enjoy every moment of it. I feel blessed. I want to enjoy every moment I'm going to have. So like, I'm going to make a stupid video of me flipping people off. I'm going to make a stupid video of me kicking my friend in the balls, which was so much fun. Look, I love you, Dan. But when I got to kick my friend in the balls, that was so much fun.
Yeah.
Can I tell you something about him? So he was going to bring a cup when I kicked him, and he forgot one, and he was like, whatever. Then I kick him as hard as I can. I thought I got him. And he's like, no, dude, you hit me in the thigh. Like, go again. I was like, dude, you're a fucking trooper. You could have faked it. You could have sold it. Nope. I kicked him in the balls. I hit him so hard, and it made an incredible video that TikTok fucking censored because I was kicking him in the balls. It didn't show up on the For You page. It still got 1 million views of people just looking for it.
Yeah, pull it up. I want to see it. By the way, I like this TV in here, Halston. We're really stepping up our fucking game. You got to sign into TikTok. Wait, what is that? Is that you the first day in the hospital?
Which one?
Go to that first video that's got 91,000. Is that you?
Yeah, I put that out yesterday.
Oh my God. Is that your broken nose?
That was day 3. Yeah. Wait, this one, yeah. You got to hear the sound. Otherwise, this is not going to make any sense.
Do we have headsets?
No, but you have the remote for the TV.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, can you start it over?
You got to start this one over. This one, yeah, I just made. On New Year's, I fell and my entire body was paralyzed. I worked super hard to recover, and eventually it was time to make the jump from a walker to a cane. Naturally, I went to shop for one on Amazon, but while searching, I stumbled upon a video simply called Cane. That seemed kind of weird, so I clicked on it. Emil Farkas, who is best known as a historian, now shows his skill with one of the oldest weapons, a simple cane. Training began. I was terrible at first. My arms were so weak I almost gave up, but then I was reminded.
Combat is for real.
Thank you, Sensei. I will never doubt myself again.
Elbow pushes him, I go out, wham!
And I'm glad I continued, because who would have thunk that the student would become the master? This is a tale of hard work, dedication, and perseverance. I present to you the story of how I mastered the way of the cane. Stay tuned for part 2.
Oh, that's fucking great. God, you really broke your fucking nose. Go back and freeze on that video.
I don't know if it lets you freeze.
It
doesn't. There you go. Yeah.
I mean, you have
I was fucked. I was fucked, man. It was a bad fall. It was a bad fall.
So wait,
I don't remember.
What video of yours on TikTok has the most views?
The kick in the balls one. It's got 11.5 million views. This is the first one. Earlier this year, I was in a traumatic accident and was completely paralyzed under my shoulders. As a way to motivate me to improve, my friend Dan said that when I got out of rehab, he'd let me kick him in the balls. Little did he know I'd make an insane recovery, and by the time I'd get home just a few months later, I'd be in incredible shape. This is the story of how I kicked my friend Dan in the balls.
This is
All right, so
great.
when Chase told me he wanted to kick his friend in the balls, we had to take a very strategic approach.
Great.
We worked on the right leg and the left leg to figure out which one was stronger.
Your right leg looks really great.
The left leg is the one for the job.
The right leg wasn't
His
as good
left leg
as I could
has
balance
way more
better
force
on my
than I was
left.
expecting. Dan, you better watch out.
I can see what you're talking about with it not.
Stay tuned for
with
part
it not
2.
it not firing, that glute not firing.
Yeah, and then this is the one that TikTok censored.
Hey guys, I'm Dan. I'm about to be kicked in the balls.
Yeah.
Oh wait, Dan's a good-looking guy.
He got a lot of. There was a lot of comments of girls being like, "Is Dan single? Is Dan single?" But he has an identical twin that commented, "He's not single, but I am," and he put his Instagram handle in there.
That's an aggressive kick to the balls.
I went hard.
Oh my god. You got it. Left
How
ball.
great would that be if you paralyzed him?
Chase just kicked me straight in the balls and I feel so good.
Yeah. So it says like at the bottom it could have serious injury, so it never showed up on the For You page, which is where people find it, and still look 999.9 thousand. It is 100 away from 1 million. of people just like searching for it because the video before that like did so well. Have you seen the golf one?
No.
My name is Steven and I'm a 13 handicap.
Oh yeah, I saw this one. I've seen all your videos.
My name's Antho.
I hate to toot my own
19.
horn, but this one is my favorite one. It's so funny.
My name's Ethan and my handicap's 25. Oh, stop it.
My name is Chase and my handicap is a spinal cord injury resulting in quadriplegia. Yeah, that's my best one.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think with one of these things, you let it breathe and you find your lane, and then you find a way. Because there's so much that what I think my biggest takeaway is that the inspirational side of it, and I think that was what impressed me with Scott. And Scott's leaned very heavily into inspirational. Scott is the one we were talking about who's got paralyzed from the spinal drip, but he has leaned very much in the inspirational thing. And I think I met him because I was fascinated by just how inspirational he is. But there is something to be said for connecting with someone today. There's someone right now that just found out that they're paralyzed and they have a long road to recovery. And you are such an inspirational to that story to that person. And I could never connect with that person. I can do stand-up comedy and I can make you laugh and make you forget about things for a second. But what you can do is talk directly to that person. And it's like, when Tom said that message to you, and I felt like going, hey, I remember they were sending a message. I was like, I'll do one with Tom. And I was like, hey, Chase, you got this. And Tom's like, do the fucking rehab. Like he called me today and he's like, are you doing rehab? And I was like, no. And
you gotta do it.
Well, for me, it's just this right now, but because they just want the mobility back, and then we'll do weight training. And he was like, who's your OT? And I was like, what's an OT? And he goes, the fact that you don't know what a fucking OT means, you're not doing the right thing, Bert. And he was like, he goes, who's doing your PT? I was like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. And he was like, who gave you that bullshit brace? And I was like, I don't know. And he goes, I'm going to get an OT in touch with you. We're going to get you a new brace. Like Tom was but that's Tom, he is like, what's the problem? I see the thing in front of it. My thing's like, what's the problem? How bad is it going to be? Can I just ignore it? Who wants to party? Like, I think I sometimes, but your ability to communicate to someone that's going through the toughest point in their life and be a lighthouse in the fog for them, or like a channel marker of like, yo, this is where you can go. And I feel like one of the few things I think I did right, and I don't think I did a ton right, because, throughout this whole journey of yours, because also I didn't want to infringe. I didn't want to start texting you too much, and then you'd be like, hey man, I can't use my hand, you're driving me fucking nuts. But it was like setting you up with Scott, because once you have that,
well, you set me up with Scott in the very beginning. Yeah, so no, that was great. And Scott was so much help because, so you know how I said I was like living in my own reality of I'm going to be fine. After like a month, it kind of, the doubt started coming in. Like people don't recover from this. Like I'm getting lucky. And I would call Scott and he'd make me ready to like get out of my chair and run through a fucking wall. Like he was so much help. And because of these videos and the TikTok stuff, like a lot of people have been reaching out to me saying, hey, I'm going through this, blah, blah, blah. I've also had a spinal cord injury, and I'll talk to them, and talking to them helps them. It helps me. You learn about it, because even the therapist, like nobody understands it unless you've been through it. It's so bad. It is so terrible to like deal with your entire body to not work. But like having like a community of people who've been through it helps so much, and talking to people that know what you're going through, because it doesn't matter how many times I tell the story, how vividly I describe it, you don't understand unless you've like been through the same thing. So how does someone, what would you say? Like say there's someone listening, they go, oh my God, this just happened to my cousin. This just happened to my brother. Oh my God, this happened to my wife, or oh shit, this happened to me. And they want to connect with either you or Scott. Like what would be the best way for them to go about reaching you? You can just DM me on Instagram or TikTok. I see most of them. Yeah. Okay. And your Chase Gets Better on TikTok. And what are you on Instagram? Chase Unfiltered. Chase Unfiltered. Yeah. By the way, what's so funny is there's a guy named Chase Lepard. I'm sure you know who that is. Yeah. Yeah. And so I have said so many times, because Chase Lepard and I worked together for
I think a few months, and I just, because I'm so often on Instagram, I've said Chase Lepard has been paralyzed to so many people, and they're like, "What happened?" And I was like, "New Year's Eve, man." And they're like, "Wait, is that?" Oh shit! But he's
other
just,
Chase.
and I was like, so I feel bad if Chase Lepard, if everyone's wondering why he's not paralyzed. But
no, he's been like a couple times. He tagged me. People are like, "Chase, are you okay?" And he's just like, "Nope, it's this guy."
yeah. Who
Yeah.
just walked in? Is that Leanne? Leanne? Who the fuck was that? Oh, yeah. Well, we should wrap this up and finish and have these sandwiches. I'm beyond proud of where you are today.
Thank you.
I'd love to we'll do another podcast when I get back from Macon.
Sure.
Maybe we'll bring Judy on here, or we'll bring someone else on here.
Yeah.
And do like a little bit of a drinking, more relaxed, get really into the Fast and Furious franchise. and kind of catch up with your recovery, because I'm fascinated by it. I really am fascinated by your journey. I'm not the best interviewer in the world, so if there's anyone out there that would like to, like, you know, all our friends have podcasts, all our comics, please hit up Chase, hit up me. I'll give you his info. I the whole time doing this, I was like, Rogan would have done so much better of a job of having this conversation, because he knows about. He's like, I go ready. Oh, okay, Rogan questions. So have you thought about stem cells?
Scott does that.
Does he?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he gets it. He said it's like there's no like actual proof that it works, but he's trying it. The thing is about me, why I'm not trying shrooms or anything, is the stuff I'm doing is working. And in my head, it's like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I'm gonna keep doing what I'm doing as long as it's working, and as soon as it's not working, then I'll try something else.
So there's a place Steve-O went to in Brazil.
Okay.
That does like hardcore stem cells.
Okay.
Like I think illegal ones.
Oh, nice.
And
kind.
Yeah, and so I mean, I don't know what stem cells even do, to be dead honest with you.
Well, they're cells that haven't like become a specific cell yet. So they can like grow into anything, essentially. Is like, I'm pretty sure the concept of it. Yeah.
Nice. And then what about steroids? Would that help?
I don't know, but I could get a little bigger. I lost like 20 pounds of muscle when I was in the hospital.
Yeah, do a fucking cycle.
Let's do it.
Like these are the things I think that Rogan would be like.
Yeah, these are your Rogan stuff.
Testosterone,
zinc. Gotta have zinc.
Bro, you need vitamin D.
Vitamin D.
You need vitamin D. Have you tried turmeric? Turmeric. He'll say it weird. Turmeric. But like, yeah, the whole time I was doing this interview, I was like, I'm pretty good at listening. Sadly, I interject my own stories into people's stories, which are never the same when it's talking about something that's serious. But yeah, if there's we'll have you back, and if you guys. What I'll do is I'll let you know, and we'll do it maybe September, October, and kind of track your journey, see where you are, see if we get you, or you get a book deal out of this, see if we can get a movie made. I'm thinking of a TV show already.
All right.
Where you take other, what we should do, schedule that Wim Hof shit. I guarantee you it's in the winter. I guarantee you it's in Iceland.
Yeah.
We'll take some time off. We'll go do that.
I wanted to go for years.
I'm telling you, open offer. I will pay for both of us to go. I'll fly us out. I'll fly first class. You'll fly coach, but you're gonna get us on the plane first, obviously. Okay. So I'll be like, hey, I'm with him. All right, back to coach, buddy. No, I'll fly us out. Does it say where Wim Hof's thing happens?
It's like Iceland or
it's
Norway,
in Iceland, right?
Or something. It's something like that. I can't remember.
There
it is. Wim Hof in person.
Can you read that, Halston?
Having grown popular worldwide, Wim tries to visit as many countries as he can to spread his love and share his message. In these one-on-one kind of events, Wim takes you on a personal journey, yada, yada, yada. It doesn't really say. There's no upcoming travels with him with the global pandemic going on.
Okay. Well, we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out and we'll go. And we'll bring a group. I think we should do. I bet we could get Tommy to go.
Like we would get so much out of it.
Because
he's like a guru who has scientifically proven that his shit works.
Yeah.
It's like legit.
Yeah, and I know that you can go there and do the thing. I know, I think Aubrey Marcus did it. I'll reach out to the On It guys. I think they know him. And I think I want to say I connected with his son. I think his son does all his whatchamacallit stuff. It's no, I think when you go out and you live with him, I think it's a little more. Yeah. We're doing the, hey, we're moving into your house.
Yeah.
Going into your pool. And by the way, if we have to take the 10-week online class to get into the other one, we'll do that, or at least we'll pay for it and tell them we did it.
Yeah, of course.
But I would love to do this. I'm going to do a liver cleanse. Gabby just sent me all these fucking things that I can do to get healthy. I'm going to do them all. I think I'm going to really start as I drink and eat pills and eat a fucking barbecue sandwich. I really think I'm going to change my life, you know?
Yeah.
I was going to not drink at all during, it deals with anxiety and depression. I don't have depression, but man, do I have anxiety.
Like his stuff, it's got to help with everything.
Oh, yeah.
I'm so all in on this stuff.
All right. Well, do me a favor. Keep Googling it, find out what it is, and get us into it, okay?
Yeah, let's do
and then
it.
let Judy know. We'll block it off. We'll shoot video for it.
Oh, yeah.
We'll post it on fucking line.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be fucking great.
Some good content.
Well, dude, I'm very, very, very
Is that
happy.
your dad?
Where? No. I'm very happy for you. I'm very glad that I can sit down and talk to you and have this conversation. I think, when this happened at the beginning of this year, I was floored by that information, and I didn't know what was going to happen, and I kept waiting for good news, and it wasn't until you get these video updates from Judy, but to think that we're here having a fucking Bud Light, about to eat a barbecue sandwich. Mm-hmm. I'm very, very happy for you, man.
Thank you.
I'm very happy.
And thanks for having me.
I can't wait to see your path to 100%, or at least 85%. It's still going to be better than my body.
Well, see, your bottom half is in like great shape, and it's just the top half.
Yeah, it's the top. My bottom's 100%. My top's a 30, so I get to 70.
Yeah,
like an overall.
Yeah,
if I can get this arm back working.
Yeah,
I can't suck dick right now. Like, dude, I love you. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.
Fuck yeah.